What's good? What is good, everyone? Of course. Welcome to an episode of Opinionated with your guy, Resla. And hoping you're having a good weekend as it is Saturday today. I know some people don't think it's a good idea to date your stuff, but I'm in the building process. I want to know every time you know what day it is so that you can also be on track as well. So you're not just getting in case you catch this on the replay and now you're like, I wonder what day this was. So it is Saturday. Um, with that being said, there was a whole bunch of stuff I was looking into. I was fighting a headache, but I managed to get by it. Managed to get by it because we had the power of alcohol and, of course, aspirin. Don't mix those two things together in case you got children that are watching. All right. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. So we're going to be all over the board. There were a few things that hit my feed. There's some things that I really want to talk about. I am still rearranging my windows so that we can get everything going together because, quite frankly, I am all over the board trying to get my windows set up. And then we'll be able to fix things up pretty good. I wanted to talk about some things when it comes to some things happening in New York. Not a lot of things happening in New York. Particularly, I want to focus on our mayor because this was actually something pretty funny. I started pulling up a few things that started coming up on my timeline, so I do want to cover just how hilarious the mayor of New York is and just basically how they seen something. I haven't really looked at all the videos. I kind of saw the titles. I may have gotten to a couple of seconds and I just said, this is gonna be good. Let's just do this in real time. Um, and then I want to talk about some other things when it comes to culture. I want to have a real good discussion when it comes to culture. So this will be a open panel. We can all give our pretty much our ideas and things going on. Don't be shy. Anyone who wants to come up, you can be able to come up. You know my rules. We not popping. We not big out here in these YouTube streets. So if you wish to be anonymous and be, off camera, that's absolutely fine. I welcome all voices. Don't ever believe that you need to be a skilled debater or a skilled podcaster or anything of the such. I just have these simple rules. If you come up here, be careful what you say because when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. But before we get anywhere into our discussion for today, I do want to give a little bit of shout out, of course, to the people who are here in the building. So salutes to my guy Will. Yo, Will, what's poppin', man? You can always catch Will over at the Sell You Like podcast. Let me just put that right here on the screen real quick so that you know. Like he says, my motherfucking G. I appreciate you, my guy. Of course, we got Trash Media. Afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Of course, we have the one, the only OG Do Dirty doing his business up in here. So, of course, welcome to the show. Hopefully, we have a good one for you guys today. And of course, the lovely Yvette Marie. Hi, baby. How's everything? We always running too strong in here, right? Absolutely. So I do welcome you guys for being here, and as we pour in more with more people, we will be able to do some things up in here. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. I'm on my laptop. I got my two screens because I don't have my third screen up. That's why I'm also pouring up my laptop. And we're gonna be doing some things today. I think the discussion is gonna be very good. But before we get into that, in case you all get interested at any time, you're feeling amped up enough to go do so, you can do that. So I'm gonna put this right here, right in the chat, so that you know that we are good. And just so you don't lose track of it later on in the stream, it is now pinned to the top of the chat just for you guys. Just for you guys. All right. So let's get a little bit into about some of the things that have been taking place. I want to have a conversation about the overall cultural message that we've been seeing throughout social media. So I'm pretty sure you already guys know I'm a person like to sit back. I like to sit back and watch to see what's happening in social media and then later on talk about it. I'm not one of these people that the moment something hits my freaking trending screen, I just pop up on it and I start doing a whole bunch of stuff without really having the context. I like waiting a little bit to see what some things are saying, what some other people feeling about it, or if they're just spamming things just for the sake of being relevant. That's just really the way how I look at it. But first, I want to cover some of the boring stuff before we start getting into the good stuff. And when I say boring, for me personally, the boring stuff is talking about politics. And the reason why I say it's boring to me is because people who have narratives or people that they have to cater to are not necessarily entertaining to me versus the most random acts that you get through just dealing with the human condition. So let's get a little bit into that. First of all, we're gonna start with my guy Eric Adams. Let's see what he did this time. Oh, actually, is this the one? Is this the one? I don't know if this is the one. Give me a moment. Let me make sure this is the proper video. I've been watching stuff. I've been watching. Let me make sure this is the proper one because I've got windows upon windows upon windows. Nope, it looks like that might actually be it. Oh, look at me. Look at me. I was actually on point. That's what happens. All right, let's have a look at this. And you tell me what you think.
Let me just take your imagination for a moment. If we had a migrant and asylum seeker plan that states those jobs that we are in high demand, we could expedite. How do we have a large body of people that are
Wait. Did he say expediting the process for migrants to get jobs? Let me. I haven't seen this, guys. So I'm looking at this real time with you guys. Let me make sure I hear that again.
jobs that we are in high demand, we could expedite? How do we have a large body of people that are in our city and country that are excellent swimmers, and at the same time we need lifeguards? And the only obstacle is that we won't give them the right to work to become a lifeguard.
Okay. I'm not gonna look at it this way because I'm not a blackity black, but immediately my spidey senses started tingling. Are we saying that because they are migrants that they are great swimmers? And you're saying that of the large jobs that could be really prevalent or very important in New York City, you know, there's not a lot of large body of water. You know, you're talking about pools and such. So we're talking about only summertime jobs. And you're saying you wish to expedite something for migrants to become lifeguards. Eric. Seriously? You know what? He's got about another half a minute in here. Maybe he'll clean some of this up. You said across the I can't say it. Not here in New York for sure. I really can't say. You know what? I gotta do this a little bigger. I really can't say about that. I really can't. We don't need lifeguards in the Hudson. I don't know anyone who's out there trying to swim. No, that's not true. These freaking marathon people. These marathon people, they're some of the type to actually try to do that. So maybe. But to suggest that because they're migrants. We're talking about the ones from Africa that are talking about they want a job, right? Migrants in general. But the only ones that ever went to City Hall were actually the ones that went from Africa because they have, the blackity blacks behind them. Are we saying that they are great swimmers? Where did you get that information from? I would love for Eric Adams to give me the data on why migrants are great swimmers. No. Should I say it? I'm going to say it. I hope he didn't take the reference of being called a wetback as being a great swimmer. I hope he didn't just do that. I'm leaping. I'm grasping that shit. I'm just picking shit out the air. It's in my head. These are my thoughts. I just hope that wasn't it. I'm really hoping that wasn't it. Eric, explain yourself. Eric, I need you to explain it. From brother to brother, I need you to explain that to me, sir. Let's hear.
That just doesn't make sense. But if we had a plan that say you have a shortage of food service workers and those who fit the criteria, we're going to expedite you. If you have the experience that you are a nurse, which we have a nursing shortage, and we would expedite you.
We don't have a nursing shortage. We don't. If you gave nurses, if you didn't have to restrict nurses from being subjected to being, well, not you. I'm not putting that on you, sir. If the nation did not subject nurses to having to either keep your job or keep your health during the pandemic, you would keep nurses. But as far as I can see, there are still a shit ton of nurses still employed. There are nurses coming out by the year, by the buttload. So no, I'm sorry, I do not see a shortage in nurses. I see a shortage in doctors. I see a shortage in surgeons, nurses. We have plenty of nurses. Just go on all your dating sites. You'll see them.
And that's the same with lifeguards. So we have all these eligible people waiting to work with the skills we need to fill the jobs, but we're unable to allow them to work because bureaucracy is in the way. That's just does not make sense.
Interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. That is the first time I'm ever hearing it ever such nonsense. That didn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how he made that leap to say that that would be something that we particularly need. But anyway, and then my thing is this. Let's just say you have these migrants, right? Who want to work again. And I'm a person that, if you ever heard me say it, I'm not opposed to migrants working. I just think you need to do it the right way. If you want to come here in this nation, you want to benefit yourself, you want to be able to push yourself or pull yourself by your bootstraps or whatever, you want to eat dirt like the rest of us, you want to eat a ton of shit sandwiches and get your pockets taken from all the taxes, especially here in New York, because you're going through federal, state, and city tax. Absolutely. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I just have a problem with you demanding it. But let's just say you're going to be a nurse as a immigrant worker. Would that not mean that you would also need to provide that you actually have the qualifications, not from some NBC, whatever? You actually have to take a test here to prove that because you have to do it as a doctor. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor in Bengali. When you come over here, you got to take tests to actually prove that you can do medicine. So wouldn't the same kind of standards be running for those people? But let's just be honest. Let's just use the threshold that he used. He said lifeguards and then nurses. These two are far in a spectrum from each other. Did he try to say that they both save lives? Is that what it is? Like, they both save lives. So basically, we should just keep them around because they both save lives. Is that the kind of narrative that he's pushing? I need Sir Eric to explain it because I didn't quite get that. I didn't quite get it at all. But maybe he can explain himself, because in the next video, he pretty much put that he needs to be able to clarify why he's basically calling them excellent swimmers. Excellent, by the way. You say what? Most of these migrants are so here's the thing. I don't even know how to take that. You might have a strong case when it comes to people saying that they aren't, I won't say that they aren't educated. There are plenty of migrants who go through schooling. Now, if you're gonna just judge on Africans, they may not have the same level of education, but they do have education. They do have people who understand construction, who have been working as in delivery, so they know some form of logistics. There are some migrants. I'm not gonna say they just don't know nothing. Like they can't pick up a book and read. They have some semblance of education, unless they just strictly from a rural village, which I wouldn't even understand how they even understand English at that point. But if you look at like a lot of the people that come from Latin countries as well, like I mean, they can do stuff. They can do some stuff. I just think that you should have I guess like you can say like a social worker, someone who could be able to go back, assess your credentials, assess your skills, get you in the right areas, and take the proper tests so that you can become You can become certified to actually get your papers. I just don't think this should be a blanket thing that's just given out to everybody, especially in a city during a time in the country where employment is iffy, at best. Because you have so many areas that, depending on where you're at, you're given an incentive strictly because you're a minority. Do we have to think that people who are already a minority in New York are going to be overshadowed by those who are not even born and raised or even legal citizens here? Of course not. Of course not. Yes, I would say it. I agree. The right way. I totally agree. Locksmith, what is good? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let's take a look at this next one that I have over here, because we're gonna hear if Eric Adams has actually cleaned up a bit from what he said. Let's find out. Let's find out. Again, I'm going through all of these new with you guys, so we experience it at the same time.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams raised eyebrows earlier this week after suggesting migrants could fill the gap in the city's lifeguard shortage this summer. Take a look.
How do we have a large body of people that are in our city and country that are excellent swimmers, and at the same time we need lifeguards? And the only obstacle is that we won't give them the right to work to become a lifeguard.
Adams made the remarks in a Tuesday press conference in which he was asked about the lack of lifeguards in light of Memorial Day approaching.
Oh, you know what? I did not even think about that one. Memorial Day's approaching. Really? So we're putting up lifeguards during Memorial Day, and it will only be summer work. Do you think that once these guys, because that's be a bigger thing at play, right? Don't you believe that once these guys have a taste of actually getting a actual, because they're not going to receive a under the table gig. It's not going to be under the table payment. It's not going to be strictly be cash in hands. These guys are going to have access to get bank accounts. They're going to be legitimized because they'll actually have papers. If that's something that comes into place, you're well on your way of just establishing them as Americans at some point, or to say that they're legitimized so that now they can get the proper housing, whatever the case may be. But let's just be honest, lifeguards ain't pay that much. They're not. And then even afterwards, I'm gonna say even afterwards, if you have these people that start working for the summer, do you not think that they're gonna work? They're gonna want to work after the summer's over? With the summertime, when the weather's still warm, we're talking about maybe end of August. They're still going to want to be there. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't know any public pools that are running year round. There are definitely public pools. People do trainings. They have memberships, things like that. Maybe they can get jobs in those places. But public pools, no, not necessarily. So that's interesting. I didn't even consider the whole. I did not consider the entire Memorial Day thing. So I wonder what they got to take their take on that is.
He later said the comments are based on previous conversations he's had with a group of migrants.
Immigration advocates criticized Adams' commentary for being racist and divisive. Per the Hill's reporting, president of the New York Immigrant Coalition, Murad Aldoue, told the Times that Adams should not be making such comments in light of the journey that immigrants make to get to the United States.
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Make whatever comments you want to make. Listen, regardless of the fact that he's mayor or not, and however you feel about him, he's got the right to free speech as well. You might say it was a bit insensitive the way he said it, but quite frankly, he said what he said. I didn't find it disrespectful, but I knew exactly where people could take it. I didn't find what he said disrespectful. And again, if we're gonna say excellent swimmers is now derogatory and it's racist, then an actual lifeguard who is known to be a excellent swimmer, how should they take it? Should they act like black people and just say it like it's a term? It's a negative words. It's negative words, but it's a term of endearment. Like, what exactly are we gonna say? I think some of these she might be a liberal. Don't know, but I think people need to really hold off on trying to make everybody's words weapons. Is he trying to out Hochul? I don't think so. I don't honestly believe that. Well, I don't know. Let's find out.
States, which includes swimming or wading across dangerous waters. New York City has been a hotspot for the migrant crisis. Nearly 200,000 migrants have arrived in the city within the last 2 years. Hundreds have been bused there from red states like Florida and Texas. Adams had to enact laws to halt migrants busing to the Big Apple. So I think this comment was very tongue-in-cheek from Mayor Adams. I don't think this at all came from conversations he had with migrants that were like, please let us be lifeguards, Mayor Adams. We really are great swimmers and we want to make sure the city's safe at the swimming pools. It was obviously a joke. And there's a bigger problem here where it's the reality that we have a lot of migrants coming to the United States. Many of them don't have any desire to go back, in part because of strict border policy, that it's very difficult to cross the southern border, but also because, they want to get a job and live in the United States, and there's a lot of violence in their home country.
I don't have a problem with migrants who want to come to the United States and make something for themselves. I don't. You can come here, but that doesn't mean that you need to be stuck in one of the prominent cities on the globe. I don't think that you should even be aiming, to be honest with you, to be in a big city. We have so much untapped land. We have so many deserted towns. Honestly, there should be a push to start getting people to start pushing out, because I think the idea of us living on top of each other is already a problem as it is. This is a problem that I just have with people in the Black community. We're not seen in other areas of the world, so really we're not flourishing. We're not flourishing. We're just living on top of each other. We're wiping each other out. We're recycling that entire shit. I think if we spread out to be able to conquer more or build more, develop more in other areas, we do a lot better. It should not be that the most heavily dense areas that you can see 14% of the country should be only in urban areas. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, I agree with the young lady over here that I don't think that they're running out there. So we're great swimmers. We'll be able to live in these areas. Oh my gosh, just please give me a job, please, please, please. I am not gonna say that as well, but there needs to be a clear cut plan as to not only where we are now, but what are our plans going to be for migrants in the future. Because quite frankly, she says, oh, migrants are not really trying to leave. There are plenty. I've just already read the reports about 2 days ago. It was one report, so just hold off on that. Take that with a grain of salt. That there are people who are not doing so well, because I was looking into Queens to the Roosevelt area. I'm gonna leave that one alone as well. I said a lot last time. And quite frankly, this is a chick that she wants to go back to Venezuela because she's like, she can't make it here. She can't. But there are also other people that turn on, they're using that plane ticket or using that bus ticket, and you know where they're headed down? They already said it. LA beware. They're heading to Philly. They're heading to Philly. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Because they about to get on that fentanyl train too. Mm-hmm. Got a point, CCD. Got a point. You have a point. LA, more zombies coming to your neck of the woods. Just want to let you know that, sir. Just letting you know. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. When it all goes to shit, you know you're gonna go to the DR anyway, so it's all good.
In part because of disastrous U.S. foreign policy and intervention. And so we're in this situation where we need to find a place for these migrants in our economy. And he's right to have his attention towards what jobs will they have, where do they fit in. But making a joke like this coming from, Mayor Adams, it's just a bit ridiculous. And of course, it's gone viral like many of the other stupid things he said.
Yeah, I wonder, I'm not sure I buy that it was a joke, though, because why would he give the explanation that he got this idea after talking to migrants if it was just a joke? He could have just said,
Miss. Ooh, I was about to say something nasty. I don't even know you. I was about to say something nasty. I am sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm better than that. Sorry. I'm gonna blame it on the alcohol. Madam, if you are homeless, think about it. You haven't had to think about it, miss. You look like you are of Latin descent yourself, madam. But if you are here in a country, you have no job, you have no prospect, you have no opportunities, would it behoove you as a migrant to turn around and say anything? To say that you are great at anything, to be able to ensure that you have some form of employment so that you can not only take care of yourself, which, let's be honest, most of them who showed up are not actual families, but to take care of your actual family as well. Would it be good? Hey, are you good at selling mixtapes? I'm the greatest at selling mixtapes. Absolutely. Can I get a job? You're going to do that. You're going to say anything in your power to make sure. So now you're literally being inflammatory for no reason, just so you can throw shit at Eric Adams. And again, I'm not saying he does a great job. I wish he would do better because he ran on that. I wish he would hold up to what he ran on. But for the sake of it, to just say, I'm going to throw shit at him for the hell of it, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, madam. You're reaching. You are reaching. What happened? What was that, CCD? He said, I watched what was going on in South France, cartels. Well, listen, yeah. They're not. But at the same time, France can't do shit. France can't do shit to help themselves. They never have. They never been really good at helping themselves. Anytime I hear about some French or French soldier, I'm just like, I ain't worried about you. That's not to say you can't handle yourself, but in the greater scheme of all the countries in this world, nobody's worried about you. Nobody's worried about you. And again, it's not a personal thing against that personal person. It's how your country has behaved that gave that. Sorry. I'm sorry. OG, you get home whenever you get home. The door's open. And the door's open for anyone else who wants to come up as well. All right, let's hear what else she's going to say. She's about to be overboard.
I was being tongue-in-cheek about the mass of migrants that have come here. New York is obviously struggling to deal with them. They want jobs. So I was, throwing out a sort of funny idea. Instead, he tried to justify it by saying that he had come up with it, again, by talking to migrants. I'm not sure I buy that excuse.
I believe it. I believe he was actually talking to migrants because, quite frankly, they've been the ones who have been loud in the city. Number one, I wouldn't have believed that he actually took the time to speak to a lot of migrants, even though he has gone to different communities and spoken to them about whatever. He has taken heat for a while. I can't believe I'm defending him the way that I am. But also, I think he actually spoke to migrants because he even claimed that just to take care of the prostitution thing and to understand more about it, he went there like 1:30 in the morning. He's diligent. He's dedicated to his job. So, madam, to say that he was tongue-in-cheek, I mean, maybe he was tongue-in-cheek when he went to Queens and Roosevelt Street. So, well, I don't know. Roosevelt Ave, tongue-in-cheek, due diligent on the mayor. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's putting in work.
This reminded
Can't believe I'm defending him like that, but he's putting in work.
Me of a situation on The View where Kelly Osbourne had said that if Trump wanted to restrict illegal immigration, then who was going to clean his toilets? And immediately the crowd gasped in horror at this racist remark. And she was like, no, you guys know what I mean. AKA, I said the quiet part out loud. I think that's what happened.
Hold the phone. Hello, babe. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart. How's it going?
Hi. Uh, I'm good. It is hot in NY. How are you doing?
It's actually better here. It's comfortable now. The last like 3 days have been in the mid 90s. It's a little toasty.
Just a little toasty.
Just a little bit because we get to like 115. So, I mean,
I don't appreciate the weather right now. I don't understand how I was literally in Jamaica and I was fine, and I'm here in New York and I'm hot. It is crazy. It does not make sense at all. Not even a little bit.
no, but I was serious when I said they all have new phones. There's OF. Hello, everybody has a camera phone.
Yes. Okay. So let's do a little bit of brainstorming in that for a quick moment. For a smidget. Let's comb through that. Let's just say they get on OF, right? Because I'm gonna say I have not sold any feet pics. I have not been around the app. I've not been doing any of that stuff. So I would assume you need to have a bank account, right? I would assume that means you need to have at least social security card or something to be able to open a bank account, right?
Yeah, but there's
And
always workarounds. There's always a workaround. You know, there's always one.
well,
I mean,
say if you get with pimps or so, yeah, sure. But then there's no difference from just going over the Roosevelt Ave. Just putting yourself out there. Listen, ladies in the night are now ladies 24 hours. They
Yeah.
are they day
Yeah.
walkers too.
yeah, my street over here has them walking around right now. Yes. Yes,
Uh,
they are 24/7.
Jesus Christ. Oh yeah. Look at this. Look at this. Can't with
That's
some of y'all.
because he knows what's up. That's why. He knows what's up.
I can't with some of y'all. So tell me, based on what I've already just stated about what's going on with Eric Adams, because I have my pros and I have my cons, mainly cons about Eric Adams, but my thing is just basically on how he ran, basically versus how he's behaving. That's just how I look at it this way. And everybody gives their own perspective, their own opinions, but it hasn't been
Is it a
positive.
huge contradiction?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, one of the biggest contradictions that I see a lot is this booty hole Brown. Welcome, Zuma.
Zoomer.
Welcome to the channel. So, yeah, absolutely. So, my thing is that you have people that is doing other stuff. I was okay with the fact that we have to let some people in because I just like that for the country. Period. When the influx of all the migrants and everything came in, I already had a big problem with it, point blank from the beginning. Now, as much as you hear the Latin immigrants that come through, they came through, they started doing a whole bunch of shit they had no business doing. Some of them are gang, all this other shit. Okay, cool, whatever.
Right.
But then, of all the things, they were shoplifting, they are stealing, they're doing other stuff, things that I don't appreciate, of course, because I don't like liars and I don't like thieves. But then, of the migrants that came in, there were only one. And this is why I have a problem with blackity blacks, right? We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
Hi, Cellulites.
Well, what's good? So, my thing has always been, if you come in and you're trying to do whatever you're gonna do, take whatever measures you need to. But now they have a leading force ahead of them. And the problem that I have with some blackity blacks, not all, we gonna do the not all police shit. Some of them is the fact that, honestly, I said this in an outburst. I was looking at a short I was putting up. I may have put it up already. I don't remember. But it was an outburst that I had, and I felt true about it. A lot of these people who are claiming to be activists, I think they're just looking for their next come up. I think they're just looking to be the next Patrice Colors.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
And they are a problem for me because I'm like, just get out the way, because you're not really here for the black community to claim anti-blackness and everything. No, I'm not even gonna diminish the point that there are some discrimination tactics or racial inequities when it comes to people in working or whatever. It's across the board. We know that. But the idea to make everything about color first versus just being an American first, these are the things that I have a problem with. And now they've dragged these Africans in here who are now going to get the wrong perception on how it even means to what it means to be an actual American because they're going to be tainted.
Yeah.
That's my
You're
thing.
right. I think so too. But this just occurred to me. Now tell me what you think. It kind of seems like when it comes to, obviously the government has opened the gates and anybody can come in that wants to come in, is maybe the process, as long as maybe 1 out of 1,000 of those people is a doctor or a nurse or whatever like that, it's okay if we let in those thousands of other people that ain't shit and won't be, as long as we let that one in that would be about their stuff.
I'm not for that. I think as part as this is just for me. I think once you get here, you're allowed to like anyone else here. Once you get here, you're allowed to take whatever path that you want to success, right?
Right.
But I think as you coming here from another country, one of the things that we should be adding to the immigration process when you come here, like, is what exactly is it that you've done? Like, what exactly was your profession? And it needs to be corroborated with like the embassies or whatever. We need to be able to say who your employer was. So if you're coming here as a doctor, then likely, let's just say maybe you're expedited because you're a doctor.
Yeah, that's what
Hey,
I'm.
are you coming here for business or pleasure? Are you coming to stay? If you're coming to stay, you get expedited because you're a doctor. We have all your credentials. We're fine. If you're coming here and you're telling me that you can't tell me what your job was,
But then
you go into the bottom of the pile.
That lends into the original coming over the right way versus not argument that we've been having, and the battle we've been fighting for years before they decided to even open up the floodgates.
Well, I look at it also I look at it as the American way, and I'll do it that way because we hold so much of a high standard for people who are educated because they hold degrees. I've seen plenty of idiots holding degrees because they hold on to papers that says that they got they education that they get pushed to the front of the line. So I say do the same thing for people who are coming across the border. You get to go to the front of the line. You get to go to the checkout lane. As an immigrant, you get to go to the checkout lane if you can prove that you've actually had a degree coming from a university and you're here for economic gains. Even not even economic, you're here for educational gains. The educational gains still turn out to be economic gains later on. So that I'm fine with that. But if you're coming here saying, well, I can never hold a job, chances are it's going to be the same thing here.
Right.
Same thing. Honestly, the checkout lane should be for those who are holding accredited degrees, and for people who are really prosperous. Like,
Freudian slip. Was that what that was?
Not coming here with no goals in mind, 'cause that's the problem. People came here with no goals, no plans, and that's a big issue that I have for people coming here. If you're coming here, you need to come here with a plan.
Yeah.
We can't just be making it up as we go along. Why are you here? Why are you coming here? And immigration officer asking you, so why are you here? And they're just saying, oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? They don't even know that's not it.
I give them credit for just knowing that.
That's not cool. That doesn't fly for me. So we need to really hold the people who are coming here at a particular standard and say, if you want to come here, here's our criteria. Yes. Is it open to anyone? Yes. But it's open to those who are serious. And I think that's the route that we should be going for.
I completely agree with that. That's all I've been about this whole time. I completely agree with it.
Yeah, I think everybody only wants their best and brightest. That's why we have Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But, that's just my thing. And now we got hussies like this one up here that's sitting there. She's just throwing shit upside the wall to see something stick. Because,
and she's making millions of dollars on OF to do it too.
Probably does. That's a hustle game, right? That's the hustle culture that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Let's see what else she has to say about this.
To Mayor Eric Adams here. It's hard to say that it's difficult at this point to cross the southern border. Granted, the journey can be very difficult, but actually crossing is not. I mean, we know that because the numbers have gone up so significantly, 5,000 plus people per day. We've seen record numbers of 200 to 250,000 coming across every month. The numbers decreased a little bit between January and February, but still far above the record month during the Trump administration, which was in May of 2019. And it is true that some of these people face violence in their home countries. Of course, there is an asylum process that they're supposed to follow if they are the targets of political violence, where they go to a port of entry or fill out an application online and get a court date and can either wait in a safe third country or in Mexico, sometimes in the United States, and then they can go to their court date. But there's a lot of people who are applying for asylum who simply don't qualify. The vast majority of the people coming here now are, in fact, economic migrants. They're not actually people fleeing violence. Now, to be fair,
I beg to differ. How do you turn around and say that they're economic migrants, right? But they are not qualified. Make those two things work for me. I need for those two things to work for me. You're not qualified, but you're here for our economy. How? I mean,
What economy? We don't have anything anymore. We're supporting them. We don't have anything of our own.
We're giving them stuff for free. Absolutely for free. They're there for their economic gains. I mean,
No, they're
I
here to
love
take
this.
over, which is why they're moving it. They're squatting in people's houses and kicking the original people out. Like they're
Or
here.
killing them and throwing
It's
them
an
in duffel bags
infestation.
inside their freaking closet.
It's an infestation.
CCD says we need more educators, especially from other countries like Africa, because why? They don't play that pronoun game. It was the same. Listen, it was the same thing. We went to Africa, and we went to Africa. I would never go to Africa. We went to Jamaica, and what happened was that was crazy. So we actually saw one of those people. You know, one of our people. My parent, unfortunately, you know, going to customs. You know, and she's looking at her, and she's like, "So your name is Stephanie?" She's like, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. And then I was like, "Okay, cool." And we're walking behind her or whatever. I got a whole group with me, but we're walking behind her. And then she walks to the next person. We're all looking for like the travel vans that take you to your resort. And then she starts having a conversation because the guy's talking with her or whatever. And she announces her pronouns. And my man said, "We don't do that in Jamaica." And I went out my way to walk over to him, and I was like, my man, absolutely. Yeah, man.
Nobody else in the world plays that shit except for maybe the UK, because they're like us anyway. So
her hair was orange.
Oh, of course it was. And she had a septum ring. She had her lip pierced. She had all kinds of shit.
She had a septum, and she had a whole bunch of ear piercings down one ear. But
just
I was
one?
Just like, no, she had a whole bunch of piercings just on one ear. The other one just had one hanging down.
Oh, the septum usually gives it away right there.
Yeah, I was just like, Jesus. He's like, yeah, we don't do that in Jamaica. I was like, did you see that? Did you see that? My nigga. Like,
beautiful.
I was like, this is what I need to hear. I said, we need some of that.
Yeah.
We need some of that.
Yep. No snowflakes allowed.
Listen, I loved every bit of it. I said, I don't know what parish she going to, but make sure that she stays over there. She needs to get re-educated. That's the way we need to see it.
Some of these countries do have control by the cartels. There's violence in general, even if these people are not specific targets of it. But I think at this point, to put the blame on U.S. policy is not fair, considering the U.S. gives hundreds of millions of dollars in foreign aid to these countries every single year. The problem, unfortunately, is that a lot of the governments are corrupt and the aid doesn't end up actually getting to the people. It doesn't actually tamp down violence. Mexico is known for its government being in bed with the cartels, being a very corrupt country. And we know that these countries have the ability to crack down on violence and crime because we've seen it in El Salvador. President Bukele has single-handedly changed the direction of that country by choosing to crack down on the MS-13 gangs there, has put a vast majority of the gang members in prison, and it's basically a new country. And the flip side of that is Venezuela. We have a bunch of gang members coming to the United States to the point that Venezuela has actually gotten safer. Its murder rate has gotten down because we're importing their worst criminals into our country. So, I mean, all of the root causes, I guess, as Vice President Kamala Harris would say, are not irrelevant, but they don't fully explain the wave of migration that we're seeing right now.
So tell me, Resla,
migration, coming from
if because obviously we spend a crap load of money to these other countries. Now, what do you think would happen if, the more migrants came over, the smaller check they got? Do you think they'd let their people leave?
Yeah, that'd be funny. Because we already have migrants that are here that's been here for years, and they're saying there are too many migrants that are here.
Exactly.
There's too many here. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm people who have now got businesses and everything. They're like, we don't like all these migrants coming in here. I'm like, but weren't you just speaking with them? Like, yeah, I appreciate the fact that they're coming here. They want to visit, they want to learn, but there's too many of them. They need to go. And I'm just like, you said it, I didn't. So,
but do you think they would keep them? Would you think they would keep them if we did that though?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think anybody would. You know what? I don't even think, honestly, but here's the sad part about it. I think there would be more migrants who would try to find ways to do double dipping or going into other jobs or getting multiple jobs, because I don't think it's enough to stop them. Even if we were to be so discriminatory to say, if you're a migrant, you get paid half of what the actual you get paid half of what the salary is, they would still come. If we said that the minimum wage in New York 15 something.
No, what I meant was because obviously we give aid to a lot of different countries.
We do.
If those aid checks to them got smaller, more of their people came. That's more what I was getting at.
That would be interesting.
Like, as you know, we send money to Mexico for God knows what, and so and them being the closest and having the most of their people come here first, if their checks got slashed, the more people showed up. Like, oh well, we gave you $2 billion last year, and last year,
now you
50
lost
million people showed up. Whatever, yeah, you lost more than half of it because so many came over.
I wonder if that would be enough, or if they would just be like, you know what, that means there's less people here. That means we need to just start fucking more to put up more kids. I wonder.
I don't know. So
you have this woman over here who basically tries to throw shit at Eric Adams for things like that. But you know what? I'm actually happy that you mentioned that. I'm gonna cut this story out. I'm actually pretty happy that you mentioned that, because there's another thing that needs to be talked about. I'm gonna cancel this one out.
Happy to help.
Because we need to have a talk. We need to have a talk about this one. So there's this thing that hit my feed. And for those who don't know, I'm not really on TikTok like that, but I do have a TikTok account. I just don't really post it. I'm not really on TikTok like that. I still think it's for kids, because they wilding up there. They wilding. It's just not.
TikTok is crazy.
Not my speed is. I would try. Maybe if I had like a social media manager, they can do something. I'd be okay. But they wilding up there. But there's something I want to talk about, and it kind of goes into range is what I was just thinking about when I said if people just came here, they would just repopulate over there. And it comes down to a big thing that just went a firestorm on Twitter, and I started seeing it on my feed and social media as well. Here we go. Did you see this?
Uh-oh.
Can is calling specifically for Black men. I know you are saying why, Tasha. They say they need babies, and Black men tend to make a lot of them. After South Korea proposed last week $75,000 per baby that a family has, Japan is in desperate need, okay? And they are calling all Black men, specifically immigrants, to come and impregnate their women so that they can save their dying population. I don't.
Lies, slander.
Are they stereotyping again?
We will not have it. So here's the problem. First of all, anything that comes out of Tasha K's mouth, we automatically have to figure first it's a lie before a truth.
Yeah.
Because after she got her ass whipped by Cardi B, we learned that she is willing to lie to say anything.
Mm-hmm. She will.
Now, with that being said, I'm gonna give her a smidget of grace. Now, what do I mean by that?
Which is still too much.
She's wrong. She's more wrong than she is right, but she has some things right. First of all, for anyone who wasn't paying attention, I'm gonna do it one more. I'm gonna play it one more time, and I'm gonna see if you heard. You heard it right.
Locksmith Jeremy.
Where do I listen? There are a lot of guys waiting to sign up. They listen. The moment I heard that, it said Black man. She said, wait, how she said it again?
Black men.
You said yes.
You.
Yes, you said yes. I'll be there in a minute.
I said, I'm ready. I'm ready. Hold on. I'm ready. What they need this for? I'm ready. That's exactly what it was like. I was like, I'm good to go. I was like,
and you can go. You don't have child support here, so you can go.
And they were talking about incentives and everything. I said, okay, cool. Let's hear it again.
Calling specifically for Black men. I know you are saying why, Tasha. They say they need babies, and Black men tend to make a lot of them. After South Korea.
Problem that I have with this is that, yes, we have gone up. Thank goodness, because we were diminishing as Black people for some time. We had a good 15%, and then we dropped down to a whopping 13%. And then over the last 10 years, we've actually gone back up to 14%. So we're back on the rise again. But the ideal of that Black men are just having a lot of kids is actually not true. Now, I wish I had numbers to say what the actual average household for Black families were, because there are a lot of numbers that are just all over the place. And those are some things that need to get sorted out as well. So when I was having a conversation, go ahead.
Isn't it something like, I don't know the statistic either, but it's something small, like 14% are fathering like 80% of the kids. I think that, like I said, I don't know it exactly, but it's something crazy like that.
Yeah, I think the number was somewhere between 17 and 19% are the ones that are fathering a lot of the kids. But when I speak to people as well, they have this thing in their mind where they say that like the majority of family households are single mothers, and while it's high, it is high. It's also not true. Most families for kids actually do have two family households. They're actually coupling, and I think the number was like 39%. So 39% of Black families are actual families. I think the number, and I might have to look it up. Hold on, give me a moment here. I might have it somewhere around. The problem with me is that I have windows and I never close them. So I've got so many windows all of the time. But I do know that I do know men were sitting at 5%. When I say 5%, we're talking about single fathers.
Okay.
We're sitting at 5%. I think single mothers were sitting somewhere in the 20s. So I think it was like 21%. Might have been 29%. I can't remember. But at 39% for sure were actual families. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then like at the very bottom was like, it might have been like questionable families. But so I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, the thing that I want to cover that basically what Tasha was saying, that's not true, is the fact that she states that Japan needs us, black man. Japan needs you. But then she mentions Korea. She doesn't for anyone who's good geographically, Japan and Korea are neighbors. They're not the same at all.
And China has a shortage because of that one birth rule that they had to rescind. They have a shortage too.
They do. Now, I want her to say it, and we'll go through it, and then we'll cover what she's saying.
Okay.
Korea proposed last week $75,000 per baby that a family has. Japan is in desperate need, okay? And they are calling all black men, specifically immigrants, to come and impregnate their women so that they can save their dying population. I don't understand because, you know, black men were once and still is on the inner side of the line, which means their lives. I mean, what are you going to guarantee us if we send our men over there to help save you? Could you imagine?
Hey, what's good with you, brother?
Oh, gee, bestie.
Hey, what's good with you, bestie? It's
Hey.
crack.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Look, I thought I was gonna catch you the other day, but hey, we here now. Don't worry about it. We here now.
Yeah.
You're muted, sir.
Okay, how about this? The men that go over to Japan, they get feminine wives out of it. How about that?
They would. Okay, so there's a couple. There's some things that's not being said that people don't really understand when it comes to this, right? So, first of all, is that let me do this because I like having this view with you guys. So, first off, is that she mentions Korea, even though she's really putting it out as being Japan. Now, Japan has low numbers. I am not going to deny that. But guess what? So does Korea. Korea has declining numbers as well. Korea has actually accepted more people who are foreigners than Japan. When it comes to Japan, they heavily regulate how many foreigners actually show up in their place. Now, this is actually one of the reasons why they're on a decline, because they don't take many foreigners in. And because of that, Japan still looks at people who show up as foreigners as weird and awkward because they have such a different society. If I showed up to Japan now as a black man, you'd be surprised how many good and bad things would take place, because I can't really do things as part of their culture because they would look at me weird because of it. It would even actually be frowned upon because they're like, you're not Japanese, you can't do that. But then for those people who are born in Japanese, or for those who have moved there and have lived there for a significant amount of time, they're also dealing with their different things. Now, I'm not going to say they are racist, even though the older people are racist. But I would just say that there is a bit of discrimination. There is a bit of prejudice. Let me not say discrimination. Let me take that back. There's a bit of prejudice because all their context of black people are things that are based online because they just don't see enough of them. You see well more white people than you ever would black people. But then because of the kind of stereotypes that they get for people here in the States, they have the wrong assumptions of black people. And I might have a video about that. I'd have to take a look because I don't think I've ever closed that window. But the idea is that, let's just say, for people that that are in Asian nations, I'll just say for people who are in Asian nations, one of the things is that because they see mainly black people who are in the hood, they do gangster shit or whatever, or they look at our rap music, or they see, women twerking, booty, not now you got booty, pussy pink, booty hole brown, like, and all whatever. They think that all the worst things and on top of that, because they are such a small Asian nation. When I say small, I mean like in height. We look intimidating because we're very tall, because black people are typically bigger. We're typically more muscular. There's a lot that goes beyond that. But there's also the racial component, like I said, because they think that we're either all singers, dancers, entertainers, athletes. And that's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. But then for those, because we're so little of us, so imagine, OG, you come over to Japan. Because you're such a small commodity in the world, and the chances of you running into that same Japanese person is just so slim, she may be actually emboldened to say shit to you that she would never say to anyone else. So that means she might walk up to you and be like, hi, OG, I want to fuck. And you be like, wait, did she just get that wrong? Did she think she got the words wrong in English or whatever? And she's really saying she wants to fuck. She will actually be saying that to you, because the chances are that even if it's an embarrassing thing for her, the chance of you running into her again are slim to none, because there's just so little of you as a black man. Like, as a black woman being out there, they may ask you wild shit to say, I'm curious, are your nipples dark? They will ask some wild shit of you, because the chances of them running into you again to be and offend you is so small. If anything, you stand next to a thumb so they can avoid you if they need to. It's crazy. What do you
That's
think?
true. That's very true. I never thought of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way either, bro. But I mean, if they come to you and they ask you a crazy question, I'll be honest with you. My first thought is trying to figure out why the fuck is that question being asked, bro. I mean, it's either, I don't want to say people is dumb, but I really can't judge a person on how they start off a conversation or how they speak to me. So I get where you're coming from, though. I just ain't never looked at it like that.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of either you have the boldness to do it now, or you don't do it at all, because there are some women who have Blasian babies out there, and they're still not seen as the mother. Like, oh, you're looking at this little black kid, you must be like their teacher or something. Like, no, this is actually my daughter. Really? Because there's such a big cultural thing about family and how people look, that the first thing in a lot of Japanese people's mind is like, your parents let you get away with that? Never mind that the people who are having these children are thinking they're adults themselves. The idea that you're an adult, let's say in your 20s, even your 30s, but you have to be very careful as to who you bring home to your parents.
You have to remember, interracial relationships are still taboo to a degree in a lot of places. I mean, it still kind of is. It's not taboo here, but it's still, I don't know. There's still negativity attached to it, even though there shouldn't be.
I understand that, but if you're in a world, never mind a country that is multicultural, the ideal that you think that we should still be keeping, especially as things age. We're not going to talk about the people who are too old, boomers, whatever the case may be. We're talking about people who are like, they're young now in their 20s and 30s, and they're dealing with people who are part of the X generation, right? Which means they've already been exposed to culture. They've been exposed to other people. The ideal that you want to keep everything still looking like you is ridiculous.
Well, but in a lot of these countries, they are around nothing but them.
But But what I would say is, then you should have the same thing like we're gonna say here in the States. You should have done your best to make sure that immigrants were not allowed in your country.
Yeah.
And as you being a parent of those particular kids, then you should have put the fear of God in them to make sure that they never touched anyone who looked different. Because the truth of the matter is, like, I'm just gonna say it. Hold on, let me do this so you guys don't get implicated in this. Asian men are not handling their business.
Hey.
They're not handling their business. You're not holding it down. You're not holding it down. You're too busy rabbit fucking or whatever the hell you're doing real quick. You're not holding it down. You're not clapping the cheeks properly because these chicks are still running off to white men. They're running off to Spanish men. They're running off to black men. You guys are not holding it down. The fact of the matter is that they're okay with you dating them. They're okay with you getting them gifts. Because something I see a lot about Asian girls, they love their designer shit. But they're not giving you kids like that. You're not holding it down. You're not busting the cheeks open. You're not making her hold on to the wall. You're not making her clench up. She's doing gang signs and shit. Her toes curling. You're not doing it. You're just not doing it. And the sad part about it is that, check this out. They outnumber y'all. They outnumber you in Korea. They outnumber you in China. They outnumber you in Japan. And you're not producing any kids. You're not holding it down. And therefore, you get things like Tasha K, who probably a lot of you guys in those particular areas I just mentioned don't know who the hell it is, especially in China. I said what I said. Especially in China. You don't know who the hell this woman is, and she can make a blanketed statement like that to say that we got to come through and we got to lay down the long dick of the law on y'all women because you're not handling business. You're not taking care of business. I'm just saying what I said. So we're going to bring you two back up so that you didn't have to be implicated in that in case somehow this goes viral and I get canceled. You two are not implicated in that.
It's crazy.
Good thing you did that because all the things I was saying, you didn't want to hear it.
So I'm just saying they're not taking care of business. Now, I will say this. Here's what she's not lying. Korea has actually put out a policy stating that for people who are working, whatever, they're literally giving you incentives like $75,000. They're giving you for every kid being born. They're paying women to get kids. Now, Japan I have not read any articles that said that Japan is actually looking to pay out their women for giving kids. Getting the majority of women who I see out there, here's the funny part about it, and I'll just say this about Japan. They're wildly curious about Black people. They're curious about how we move, how we act. They find us very much being extroverts. They wish they could be more like that, but they're very wary of us. They find us intimidating because Japan as a nation, as a culture, are very much introverts. So we come out seeming like very bombastic about everything. They would never be in the streets and be like, yeah, yo, what's going on, man? Yo, I ain't seen you in a while. Bring it in, my nigga, bring it in. And they would never. They'd be like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? They would never. Now, because of that, I do like the fact that there are a lot, well, I won't say a lot, but I have seen reviews of people who are like of families in Japan who are willing to accept Black people in because they just understand that's part of the times now. But there are like the grandmothers and grandfathers that still hold weight over the mother and father that now try to influence the younger kids not to do that. But for every street interview that I see and shit like that, Asian women, especially Japanese women, if they given the opportunity, they would take up a Black man. They say, "Do you find him sexy? I like the muscles. There goes the. I like the look. What about the color? I don't mind the color. Cool, as long as he's good." Because in their mind, OG, in their mind, we're very intimidating because our culture here in the U.S. has all made us out to be ass whoopers and felons. So they say, as long as a Black man is nice to me, I'll take him. Because if you ask them, there's even people who say, I'm scared of Black men. But you ask them the inverse question. If a black man hit on you, would you date him? Yes. They accepted. So I'm not one to promote it, but guys, if you got it, I'm just saying. But I need to address something else. Tasha's not gonna look at this video, but Tasha, hold on. Let me not implicate you guys again. Tasha, I don't know what information you got, but no one in Korea, no one in Japan, and I'm just going to throw out for emphasis, China, are asking for black men. We're not sought after. We're not sought after. If we're there, we're wanted. If we're there, we're welcome. But they're not begging for us to show up. And they're definitely not begging for us to make sure that we stretch out all day women. It's not happening. They're not begging for us because they claim that we have a shit ton of kids, because believe it or not, we don't have a shit ton of kids. We're just now getting our numbers back up. So I don't know where you got the information from. I'm not calling you a liar. I would just like to see your actual data so I can be able to proofread that and know if it was actually going to be that. Because everything I looked at says it's not the case. But I do agree with you that things are on decline. Why we might be inclined to go over there, because quite frankly, they is. I just don't think that with the fact that Japan has such a declining number, the same way how Korea has such a declining number, that they're willing to change their whole nation over to not becoming dark. I don't think there's going to be a manifest destiny for black men to go over there and start changing over the culture of Asian people. That's just my thought. Any you guys got any thoughts on what I just said?
Just that Tasha K needs to show her work.
That's it. I want to hear more what she got to say. She got about another minute and change.
All right.
Think about this. After everything they put us through, everything, y'all trying to take these men out. Now you need them to repopulate the earth. The United States is responsible for what's going on over there in Japan. Why should we be held responsible? And get this, they ain't even paying no money to do it. They're just saying, please, black men, immigrants, please come have babies without women.
She said immigrants. If we are from the U.S. and we go there, we will be immigrants. Because the first time I heard this from Tasha, I immediately thought like other black men who weren't necessarily a part of the U.S. But then when I see her notation that says, what are you going to guarantee U.S.? Any black man that pretty much goes over there is an immigrant. And then what she says, like, basically, what are we going to get?
Is it U.S. or is it us, as in black people?
I didn't even think about that. You could have a point about that. Because here's my thing. If they're asking us to do them a solid, right? Are we gonna do it out of the goodness of our hearts? Or are we gonna do it?
I think so.
Or are we gonna do it because we don't want their entire race to just go extinct? Because quite frankly, I don't think that them asking, because you have to look at it this way. I don't believe that if, let's just say that was true. Black man, Japan needs you. I don't believe that us going up there and basically making Japan basically Blasian would really hold on to their race. It would essentially be, as they claim, whitewashing them. We would be essentially erasing them. So what would be the difference between that and them almost just slowly eradicating? Because if anything, you just have to change the culture of your Japanese women who keep chasing after white men. Or start lifting the cap of your freaking culture so that you can stop calling these women in their 20s leftover women.
See, there's another thing that crossed my mind, because like I brought up, China's having a shortage. Okay, Japan has the women, China has the men. That's still keeping Asian culture with Asian culture. Why couldn't they do that? What? I mean, I'm not saying anything against the black men. I'm just curious as to how they landed on that. Because, like I said, the
I don't think they landed
Chinese.
on it. I think that's the part where Tasha is stretching. I don't think they asked for black men.
Okay, she's pulling it out of the air. Okay.
Because honestly, when you talk to a lot of Japanese women, so I dated a Japanese chick. She was enthusiastic about getting with a black guy because it was just something totally new for her. And I've seen enough street interviews from about living in Japan as a black person, dating in Japan as a black person, such and such, that they are wildly curious about us, but they're not curious to the point where they're seeking us out. Like they see us and they're just like from afar, like, I admire her. She looks nice, but I'm never gonna talk to her. I can't do it. I can't do it because they're intimidated by what their perceived notion of our thought process is. A an Asian guy would be afraid to get with a let's just say an Asian woman, never mind a heavy set. Sorry, Asian woman, black woman, never mind a heavy set black woman, because they believe that they're gonna get their ass whooped, or that anybody around them that gets crazy, she gonna lose her shit and she gonna start slamming shit all over the place. You know, they are afraid that Asian women, for the most part, are afraid with getting with black guys because they're afraid that when shit gets real, we get extra. All of a sudden everybody gonna start getting body slammed, you know, and it's crazy. There are a lot of stereotypes that do flutter within Asian countries. It's sad, but it's true. But the idea that she would ask, what will we get in return? I say we let's just say what you were saying. If we as black people, what will we get back in return? I don't think that there'll be much that we would get in return. If anything, I would say, what will we get in general? Fuck return. We would be getting one of the most prosperous countries, one of the most industrial and technological countries.
I typed in the chat so I didn't say that word. And possibly get you pinged.
Which word?
The F word.
Oh well, yeah. No. What? The fetish? Absolutely.
I didn't want to say it, but yes.
That's not. Listen, we are adults. Like I don't think that fetish should be a bad thing. I think everybody has it. Everybody has a fetish.
But the algorithm doesn't like it though.
I get it, but it's a preference. That's exactly what it is. Now, whether you are inclined to like it or whatever, it is what it is. But I think that everybody has their own thing. Now, do I believe that people are infantilizing black people? No, I don't think but I do believe that black people in the U.S. have been so inspirational in general that this is the way I had to look at it. Because when most people that I looked at in Japan who were talking about black people, they don't think about people in Africa. They didn't consider people in Europe. They mainly think about people who are here in the U.S. That's just what it is. We walk over here, we're towering over them. They're pretty much looking at look, pretty much they calling us Godzilla. Then
like Locksmith Jeremy's picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
Tripod.
Okay.
Absolutely. And they're not tricking me. Not at all. I've studied enough about that culture and everything else. So I know. Trust me, I was speaking the language and everything. I know. I'm good. But the idea that I would believe that a nation that's just so strict on immigration, not just on black people, but just immigration, period. They just don't want to allow a whole bunch of people in, but just now start saying, we're going to open the floodgates so that specifically one of the people that are like that, at least there are less Spanish people, there are less black people, there are more white people than anything else. And the thing that you will open the floodgates that specifically the darker race would come through to lay down foundational pipe on all your women to save ya? Come on now. It's hard to believe, which is why I say I would just like to see that number. Now, the idea of what we would get back in return, as Tasha put it, I would say more cultural acceptance and more of an industrialized nation. What Black people tend to do with it afterwards, that's a different story. Maybe she got more to say about that.
Here's the thing. We're going to need to run some tests because it could be from what happened years ago as to why their population is down. You know what I'm saying? That stuff's still in the soil. It's still in the air. You already know what I'm talking about. What's that white man name that thought it was a genius idea to create the biggest bullet in the world? Oppenheimer.
She's talking about the Hiroshima bomb. She's talking about their soil is messed up because they still dealing with radioactivity.
Yeah, that's his name. So why is it that, y'all called him this, y'all called him that, you enslaved and you did this, and now you ain't calling back. You calling back to come save your community. And I'm going to go over there and I'm going to start me a negotiation firm over there in Asia and stuff. And I'm going to have Black men come breed with them, but they're going to get benefits. They're going to get lifetime protection from any type of child support if they decide to leave and don't want to stay in these here countries. They're going to be set.
Why wouldn't they want to stay? I don't get that.
Did she just advocate for Black men leaving their families? Isn't this shit that we get freaking demonized for here?
Yeah, she did.
Did she just really did that?
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
look at
Jesus
CCD. He's ready to go. CCD's ready to go.
Yo, apparently, did she just really say, like, the same way how Black fathers have been looked at here for leaving their families, we want them to do the same thing in Japan?
Instead of an Uncle Sam poster saying, "We want you."
Yo, that's a fact. That's crazy.
For life, which means anything that these kids bring, it is going to come back directly to the Black family, which means if I send Sheck over there to breed, right? Let's just say hypothetically, I sent him over there on a contract breeding, anything that these kids inherit is going to come back to us. The same way they do it with these, we used to be slaves on this land out here, and anything that we work, you know what I'm saying? They own and went back to their family. We gonna
see, she's looking to capitalize off it since she can't do it.
Families. That's the type of contract I need if you need this sperm, because this one ain't dying.
See, Resla, she's looking to get something out of it too.
Out of here. Moving on.
Even though it has nothing to do with her.
Well, it still has something to do with her, Yvette. She can go the long route. So the man has the easy route. He has the one that can go over there and start the process right now. But what she can do, she can go over there and find her Asian man, produce an Asian half-breed baby, and then send that half-breed baby back over there. That's what she can do. She ain't gonna want to do it. She want to blame it all on the man. Tasha K got problems.
Exactly, OG. Exactly.
Use you. She want to use you for Japan, Black man. Don't fall for it. Do it. Put your passports down on this one. Get some more research, guys. Get some more research. I thought it was very, very interesting. And actually, this video right here that I got, like, this pretty much covers some of the stuff that I was just thinking about right now. Because we have how people in their own region of Korea, how it feels when they see Blasian babies and what's their thought process. So I thought that was really interesting.
진짜 피부가 우리나라 사람 치고도 아주 희고 고운 편이잖아요.
아, 네네네.
근데
네네.
이제 아빠가 흑인이시면 같이 다닐 때
Obviously,
너무
he's
피곤할 것 같아. 그죠?
So the idea is that she has her daughter. She's actually married to a Black guy. And I mean, he a dark brother. So they got a Blasian kid. And now she's dealing with all these different random people who come in and see her daughter, and they're trying to make an assessment as to who is this kid in relation to her. And that's just really funny.
자, 예쁜 언니가 왔어, 봄이야. 언니 안녕하세요. 봄이 뭘 그리고 있어요?
유치원
Kindergarten teacher. First word she thought. She's not assessing the relationship or how close they are together. This girl is just first thing. You got to be a kindergarten teacher.
First thing I would have thought was mom.
Couldn't possibly be the mom. Couldn't.
No, it could. I'm seeing it through their eyes. Yeah, it could not possibly be. Yeah, the nanny, maybe the nanny.
A little Chinese looking ass baby.
No.
You know, I just
I'm just saying.
That's a beautiful baby, though.
What's good with you, John?
It's good. That's crazy.
Hi, John the Baptist.
선생님 아이 부모님이랑 아기 같은데 한국어 가리키는 선생님 아니세요?
Even she says Korean language teacher. That baby has slanted eyes. Korean language teacher?
나 누구야? 봄이가 나한테 뭐라고 불러? 선생님 불러? 엄마. 엄마야. 어머. 엄마입니다.
몰랐어요. 깜짝 놀랐어요. 진짜 엄마. 아기인지 몰랐어요.
엄마랑 딸.
Why? Well, that's my thing. Why are you? Is her pussy climb up every time she get around black guys? Like, why would you think that? People have interracial relationships. We're in 2024. Why is this such a surprise for people in this day and age? And that's the issue that's the issue why you got a decline in your freaking nations. It's crazy. For as much as you paying these people in companies to turn around and start $75,000, not $7,500, $75,000 per kid. Here in the U.S., we're still on our age for an adult from 0 to 18 is at the cost of $300,000, and you already doing a down payment of $75,000 just for being born. Why wouldn't people want to come over and just start slaying? And in fact, why wouldn't Korean women want to take a trip to the US, get a little something, and come back? Because quite frankly, they're gonna be the ones who turn around and they're gonna get some payment for it. And damn, now that I just said that, damn. How is this any different from how we talk about the welfare system? Women are just having kids just to freaking get payments from the government. I didn't even think about that until just a second.
Any way to get ahead. Any way possible.
But this is my question, though. I don't know if Tasha K talk about it. Why the nigga, though?
That's why I said she embellished. Because
Yeah,
I found
why the nigga
about black people.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, why? I mean, from what I'm understanding, they see us as the lowest of the lowest. So I mean, why go to the lowest of the lowest? Why you didn't go get you a Hispanic man? Why you go get you an Indian man? Why you didn't go get you a white man?
It's a great question. Hey, John the Baptist, what's
I
going
just
on?
thought that was crazy that the nigga is more important than the rest of everybody else. I'm like, well, if you're gonna date outside your race, it's for you to make that decision, not, you know what I'm saying, by the color of somebody's skin. It's depending on the person. But she's saying they only want to go get black man, like, so they just saying fuck everybody else and the black is what's up. Like that's crazy.
That's why I brought up the fetish community. Because the only thing that makes sense so far.
It's so, well, that was different from the claim that Tasha made, which was basically that we are just out there busting out and having like 13 kids. We just out there putting them out. We making football teams. It's not true. It's not true at all.
I don't think they're 21 and counting.
But here's my thing. You think about how this is Korean, right? So which means that we have military bases. Korea got Seoul, which is a very popular city. There are more black people that go over to Seoul than are in Japan, believe it or not. Because we, like I said, we have the military base and Seoul, a big city for Korea. But the idea that even in 2024 that people would still be like, you must be the teacher, or you must be the nanny, you must be the language teacher, like that you couldn't possibly be the mom to this slanted-eyed, adorable child because her skin tone is shades darker. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say this Negro child. That's exactly what the hell they think. What the fuck is this? What the hell is this? They don't look nothing like them, bro. But I don't see why people see a difference in that when, I mean, you can clearly see that the little girl got her mama features. I mean,
see, but they don't see the skin tone as being a feature. It's for them. It's like you having a car, but then somehow you put a spoiler on the car. It just naturally wasn't there. I'm seeing this car, but that spoiler don't belong there. Everything else looks like it match, but that doesn't look like it belong there.
Gotcha.
So are we saying?
I get what you're saying. It's like a Chrysler 300, and when them niggas change the front end of that bitch, them niggas think they driving a Bugatti. Now, nigga, you in a 300, nigga. What we doing there? Now, go ahead. My fault, John. I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
No. I'm just trying to catch to the conversation because I came in a little bit late. So are we saying this skin tone of this child is Asian black? Is that what we're saying?
So the idea of oh my goodness, John.
Yeah, let's take it back a few seconds so he can see what the woman said, and then
he missed the whole black man. he missed all of that. So the idea is that Tasha K put up a viral video a video that's going viral right now, and it's basically stating that Japan needs specifically black men to come down and get down the Asian women to help populate their country because they're on the decline. But yet, I have not found any claims, any articles, any news, nothing that states that black men are specifically being requested. Now, Korea has put out an actual policy that even for people who are working at jobs, that they were encouraging Korean women to actually have children. Because quite frankly, they're also on decline. The same thing for China. They're also on a decline. Because the women are outnumbering men, but the men are not taking care of business. In all those Asian cultures, they're not taking care of business. So the idea that there will be a specific request for black men, specifically when we know that Asians tend to hop on white men, whether it's Korean, Chinese, or actual Japanese, to specifically ask for black men was really interesting to me, and I found very suspicious because Japan is highly regulated when it comes to bringing in immigrants. But then even when you see in this video here, in 2024, for this particular video for a Korean woman with her daughter, the other Asian women who are also Korean just don't seem to have it in their mind that could possibly be her daughter. And even to the point where OG was just saying, this daughter has all her facial features despite the color.
Yeah.
And they're still astonished.
딸이에요. 많이 안 닮았죠? 처음 봤을 때 엄마랑 딸 같았나요? 그러니까 아마도 이제 두 분이 이렇게 붙어 있으셔서 딸을 있었어요.
Not because of how they look, because they were physically attached.
잘 몰랐을 것 같기는 해요. 저 처음 보셨을 때 딸이랑 엄마라는 생각을 거의
그러니까
못 하셨죠?
처음에는 솔직히 그냥 어쨌든 관계는 있어 보이는데 이게 뭐 선생님인가 아이인가 아니면은 그냥 지인일 수도 있고 어떻게 보면은 아니면은 뭐
네, 엄청 닮은 편이 아니고 또
그쵸.
조금 피부색도 다르다 보니까 예, 처음 보시는 분들은 또 그렇게 생각하시는 경우도 있더라고요.
Question. Why would you ask this question? Look at that question.
Is her father black?
Then is her father black? No, we just fucked in a coal mine.
Nah, I just fucked a white man and the baby came out brown skinned. I mean, you have had a better luck. I mean, goddamn, shit. I don't even want to say no. I don't want to disrespect this old lady, dog. I'm gonna let her rock.
We've seen albinos. We have never seen the inverse. So evidently, he must be like, obviously, education did not work out well for this older woman. because she just totally she fumbled the ball. She threw it. She shot it. She missed the net, missed the backboard, hit the little girl behind. She dropped the ice cream. Like she just totally she messed up everything.
Did she really miss, or did she say what she really thought?
Here's the thing. There was no thinking. That's the part, John. Again, we have albinos. Have you ever heard of two people of any race fucking each other and coming out with a darker kid?
Well, the question that's running through my
There's
head
albinos
right now, Resla,
later.
is that discrimination or racism towards the
I was
Chinese
about to-
person? I wasn't gonna say it ain't got nothing to do with black folk. This is towards towards the Japanese people. I mean, I'm asking because I don't understand. Like, why was she?
But that is it's a decent question. It's a decent question as to where her mindset is. Is she saying it because she just needs the confirmation somehow in her?
I think it's
soul
because of confirmation, Resla. I think it is the confirmation because it's so far out of her realm of thinking because she obviously wasn't exposed to it in her life. So the possibility of it extending in her family somehow, some way is beyond her realm of thought. So I think she's looking for confirmation.
But I still always say this. This is just me, Yvette. In the world that we live in today, of the digital age, in fact, the fact that she is still breathing, looking healthy at her age, is due to modern technology, right? So the idea that she would be like, is the father black? Like they don't exist. And again, in Korea, where more black people would go there, hell, they go there for like moon festivals and shit like that, like because that's a popular thing. Like Seoul's a big city. I'm not saying they're in Seoul, but there is enough black people to say that, hey, come on, if I was in Germany and the kid was walking out black in Germany, they wouldn't be like, oh, is the father black? I'm piping down this white woman over here. Obviously, the father's black. The fact that you could say that in 2024 is just mind-blowing. But again, it's not like it's Japan where it's like really heavily regulated on immigration.
Have we I there's some time I had to step away, but have we confirmed that the father is married to the mother? Have we confirmed that?
I have seen part of this video, so I'll let you see it. But yes, they actually are married.
Okay, because I was gonna say that could lend into it too, because if we're talking not even a single mom scenario, but a scenario where they're not married, the whole out of wedlock is, still huge in a lot of places.
Right.
So that could have played a role into it too.
I would have rather the question been, is the father still around?
Yeah.
It would have been a nasty question, but I would have rather that question.
It still would have came off racist.
Yeah, it would have. It would have.
Well, it could have, but if here's the thing about it. If it could have, definitely. But then there would have been so many ways that she could have gotten herself out of that. Because she could have said, I don't know if he died. I don't know if he's a military. He flew somewhere else. I'm just not gonna assume that he ran away, because again, the idea that men just run away is a thing that happens because of how black people are being put up in media for the U.S. It's not everywhere else, John.
That's what I was about to say. Yvette made a good point about that. And then I'm thinking about what Tasha K has said and the way that she was talking. So basically, you want to continue the detriment and the downfall of the black man by sending them across the seas and making them become, because if you really think about it, most people, if they do go across there and they just going over there to get some box, they not staying. And again, this is a whole different situation. Yvette made a good point. These people are married. Like, this is different from a situation where you just going over there, knocking somebody up, repopulating and leaving. You just saying they going over there to fucking smash and then go home. So where is the father in all this? If they going home, the kids is not coming back with them. Y'all not saying, the Japan people are not saying come over and have intercourse with our people and take our people back to where you is. They want them to stay.
They want them to stay.
You see what I'm saying? So, bro, it's a fucked up ordeal. But yeah, that was a good question, bro. Because like I said, I wanted to know was they married too. Because that makes a hell of a lot of difference in what the hell we talking about.
So I'm gonna go back to the question again, and I want to
go ahead,
because the question, I prefer the question that the old lady asked versus the one that you suggested. Because what I respect about a certain generation of people they say what's on their mind and they don't beat around the bush. If you'd have asked,
wait.
is the father, if you'd have asked, is the father around, I'd be more insulted at that question.
First of all, it looks like you're an idiot when you ask the question, is your father black, to a black kid?
But I'm not gonna say she looks smart. I'm gonna say what you do get is you get what's actually on her mind.
I would honestly, I'm the kind of person I would rather ask questions and seem insensitive to gain information than to ask something that just makes me seem like a fucking idiot. I would rather seem
But
insensitive.
that's you though. That's you though. Some people have to be polite about it because that's just how they are. That's her being polite about it.
So
Asking the question to sound stupid versus being potentially cruel to the girl.
So there were so many other questions you could have asked. She could have asked, so how's your relationship with the child's father? Are you guys married? Great question. Is he black?
But Rez, you do understand when you. I'm not saying your line of question is wrong, but it's certain. Most people don't operate like that. Most people go directly to what they want to know.
I don't think honestly, I don't think anywhere in the question should even the question itself already had an answer by looking at the little girl. Already had an answer. That question wasn't even needed.
I don't think the answer was. I think the question was more revealing. Was more revealing what she wanted. All right. I think the question was more looking for answer. The question was just revealing what was in her mind. That it may be a touch of racism there. We didn't know if the interview go on.
Well, I'm still, like I said, I understand what you're saying, John, but only thing we're saying is we gave her credence that she might not have been exposed to a half breed in her lifetime. Older lady, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disrespect her and be like, hey, she might not. She might have been out there in the woods somewhere in prawn areas, you know what I'm saying? Where it's good, you know what I'm saying, good money at. So she probably ain't had to deal with no niggers. But to see this baby's color and know that it's all type of shade of Japanese and other type of people that's in your culture, in your area that you're around, and you don't see those to even ask that question. That's why I asked, was it being racist or was it, you know what I'm saying, or what was she going with that? Because I feel like the question she should have been asking was something either based on, is that your child?
Is that your child? Hey, how was the
not
the
father and all that stuff? Like your questioning is throwing off because you see something that you don't ordinarily see, which I say I give her credence for that because she probably ain't seen it. But I still don't think asking is the father black. Obviously, I don't know no other colors you can mix with y'all to get black. I don't know, but I mean that's where my thinking is going. But yeah, she older lady, so like I say, she might have I got to give her a leeway, but I really don't want to. I want to say she's stupid as hell.
I'll say it for you. She's stupid as hell. There's no way she's gonna say she's never seen a black person before. Even if she owned a phone or a television, she's seen a black person before.
Go ahead.
Anybody's been attached to older black people in our community, we know how they think, we know how they talk. They say something off the wall in a minute because it's no. Hold on, what I'm going to say though, because she is when I'm connecting her to older people in the black community, because that's exactly how they think and how they talk. They can know the obvious answer. That child is mixed with something. That child, I ain't gonna say how we know. I'm just gonna clean it up. That child mixed, ain't it? And they know the answer to the question. Know why they did it.
So you blame it on C now?
I don't experience that, John.
I'm not.
You blame it on the lack of knowledge.
C now. I'm just blaming it on. They just when they get to a certain age, they just say what they want to say, how they want to say it. They're not finna do what Resla doing.
I think it was.
They just like,
Uh-oh, you glitched out. I think it was her way of getting confirmation. Like OG Mitt recommended, it might be more that than anything else. She wasn't trying to be malicious in any way. It's more curiosity based, just to get the answer out of her granddaughter or her daughter, whatever this relationship is. See, I don't even know the relationship between the girl and the lady.
I hear you. I just think like that. I don't know. It's just an obvious answer. It was an obvious answer, and it's like I'm not sorry. I'm not just gonna throw this grandmother be like she never seen or ever heard that black people exist. Like, come on. I'm just not gonna give her that leeway. She's allowed to ask the question. I'm not saying she's not allowed to ask the question. I'm just saying that it was a dumb question. That's just what I'm saying. Yeah, I think the confirmation was already right there in her face. That's just me though.
맞습니다. 근데 부모님이 다 결혼을 허락해 주셨어요.
저희 부모님은 좀 보수적인 편이라고 생각하는 이제 그런 부모님의 유형이었지만 또 이렇게 만나면서 그런 편견에 대한 것들이 좀 깨진 것 같고 어머니는 허락해 주셨고 아버지께서는 처음에 좀 많이 고민을 하셨지만 결국에는 괜찮다고 하셔서 그렇게 결혼하게 됐습니다.
자식이 이기는 부모는 없으니까. 그래도 편하게 뭐 고생 없이 결혼을 잘 하셨네.
그러니까 마냥 낯설지만은 않은 게 제 근처 친구들 중에서도 사실 조금 있었어가지고
제가 어릴 때는 진짜 좀 거의 잘 없었고 네 그래서 되게 그게 어색하실 거라 생각했는데
Can we have a question about that? Because I'm still trying to wonder how that's going to work out. If you have areas in the world that are like, say, Japan, right? Say Korea, that they're just so socially conformed and with each other as to worry about what it looks like. Never mind how the person treats you, how much money they have, whether they're a good provider, just how it looks. Because you can get with someone who's of your same culture, your same ethnicity, who can be the worst of the worst, a dirtbag. But the idea of how it looks, the idea is like, he's whooping your ass, girl. Shit, but he looks like you. Versus that you're gonna get with somebody who doesn't look like you, but they treat you phenomenally. Let's just talk about that. Because I'm sorry, this ideal, and I'm just gonna put it out there because this goes down to basically this whole superior race shit. It's not a thing. Especially in this day and age. In our century, it's not a thing. I'm sorry, there's no way you can prove to me that there's a superior race. Any thoughts about that?
I agree with you. I don't think there is either.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone.
I think you said it.
Go ahead.
I think you said it best. In 2024, most definitely there's no superior race. The way the mindset, the way we think now in society, yes, I agree with you. But
I just don't think that anyone's gonna take a genetic test and see that they go back to the first man. I don't see it. Everybody's gonna be mixed with something.
So people are still going to lean on that whole, keeping culture, keeping tradition tends to be withheld if you're, with somebody of your own. Because like when I got married, before I got married, his mom asked him, "Are you sure you don't want an Asian chick?" Because, they hold the same traditions, the same culture, where ours clash a lot. Thankfully, he's into all of that. So, it works out. But when you clash like that, and those can essentially be fundamental differences that can cause problems.
Well, I'll be honest with you, and this is what I've seen through different people. Having the same culture has never meant making you safe. Because there are plenty of Mormons who run for the hills the moment they get a chance, because their cultures aren't safe. There are plenty of people who do it who live on reservations, Indians. They when they branch out and they leave, sometimes they don't come back because, quite frankly, there's a lot of bullshit that happens in those areas of those cultures. Mm-hmm. We see it a lot. And here's another thing: you never know who the people that when they leave their culture to go somewhere else, that they're willing to assimilate to someone else's. So, for instance, what if you, when you're with your husband, right? What if you weren't so keen on your culture, right? and you liked and you were willing to accept and you were willing to conform to his. Would that really be a problem for him? And let's just say for the people who were born and raised in Japan, that's their culture. Where else are they going?
Yeah.
But you would still have family members that would still say, I don't know how we feel about that. You're, as far as the paperwork goes, as far as time limit goes, you're both Japanese. Where's the cultural difference? There's none.
Right.
I can see Black people who look dead American, if you want to say it that way, dead, not from the country, speak fluent Japanese.
That's a fact.
Could not speak English well.
Yeah.
And yet there would be this whole dynamic of, well, how they're going to be a good mix. They eat the same food you do. They speak the same, they went to the same schools. They believe in the same culture. How are they different? How are they different except ethnically?
Well, any kind of difference is a difference, though, unfortunately.
Well,
And it's still a difference that way.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Resla. Look, I want you to think of it like this too, bro. And I think I said this on another show, bro, when I asked the question about Black folks and culture and stuff on one of my shows. I believe, bro, and I strongly believe, bro, that the world is taking the culture of America, not just Blacks, not just whites, not his Hispanic, bro. Again, me and Tom had a good conversation about this. We are a gumbo of what we call shit. And nigga, the shit that we got, everybody follows, nigga. I know we might be the youngest out of everybody around the world, but understand, these motherfuckers look at us, nigga, like we are the shit.
Yeah,
And
we're the influential.
yeah.
Yoji, absolutely.
And I feel like these other countries like Japan and China and everywhere else, bro, around here, bro, they're adopting the shit that we doing. They see, bro, that you can have separate cultures inside of a culture and still be controlled by one culture. America is its own culture, bro. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. Now, we might have Blacks and white and Hispanics, and they might do their thing, but like you just pointed out, and Yvette just pointed out, bro, was a beautiful thing y'all just pointed out. When people date other people and they leave their culture, they adapt to another. So even if Yvette didn't want to continue hers, she adapted to her husband's. And even if her husband didn't want to adapt it, even if her husband went over to her culture, he'll adapt to hers. You see what I'm saying? But either way it go, they will be adapting to one culture. And that culture might be blended with all type of shit inside of it. Now, you might not do everything traditional as what you did in your culture, but you're going to add something that this other person that you're a part of, your life partners, you're going to add them to your culture. So y'all going to end up making your own. And that's basically what America did, bro. Yes. And I figure they doing the same thing over there. They trying to bring us over to marriage.
Well, that was the exact dynamic of instituting marriage, period. Because Yvette, like, why I agree with everything you're saying, like, but yes, everybody's always going to be different because the first thing we can always say what's the difference on is just your last name. You can both be Italian. If you got two last names, oh, well, back in history, the so-and-sos did this to the so-and-sos, and so you both eat the same shit, you live in the same areas, you've been to the same schools and everything, but because you got two last names, all of a sudden there's a big fucking rivalry. People always find differences in each other, but the idea is that, and this is the problem I have with the holding on so tightly with the whole cultural thing with a lot of people, is that the idea is that two people coming together is to take two people, two different cultures, two different ideologies, and make something new. The idea that you want to hold on to something that's archaic, that's dying, like these nations, like these countries, they're on the decline, John the Baptist. They're on the decline. They're dying.
I disagree with that.
You can disagree. It's on paper. They're dying. It's on paper. The world can see it. You can open your eyes and see the world. They're dying.
Do y'all agree that all traditions and cultures should die?
Sir, you can open your eyes and see the world around you.
I didn't say I didn't see it. I'm asking you, do you think that they all should die?
I'm saying
it
doesn't matter.
No, they shouldn't die, but that's not stopping. That's not, look, so it's not going to stop the credence on what he's saying, bro. Even though these cultures is over there, bro, they're gonna have to adapt what we're doing to survive, bro. We didn't figure out the formula, bro. By now, it's bro. You got to think about it, John. These people been there for a long time, bro. They should be well past us, and for some reason, bro, we are still number one. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say white culture is the best. I'm not going to sit here and say black culture is the best. Nah, bro, American culture is the best, bro. So if you're going to adapt anything, adapt what we got, because y'all shit is dying the fuck off, bro. It's not working for you. That's why they want. But go ahead, Tom.
If you look at the statistics there, John the Baptist, Japan is asking for other countries or other countrymen to come over there and help populate their population because they are dying. They're old. They're old, and they're not making any new children. Like literally, they're right now is 2 deaths to every one birth. So they're on the decline, and Japan is not Japan. China was 1.5 to every fucking 1 death. So they are dying out. Not to say that English culture is not dying out. They're dying out too, but they're mostly intermingling with other cultures because they don't have that whole outlook of just because you're from a distant land, you can't intermingle with ours. But if you look at some of these Asian cultures, when they're over and they're on their countries, they do not like to mix. But I mean, it is what it is. I understand about their culture, but if you're talking about is their culture dying, their culture will die with their elders. So as their elders die, their culture, like if you look at it right now, most of the Asian communities that came over here, if their grandmothers or grandparents don't teach the grandchildren now, whatever language they are, I mean, whatever, their language is going to die off. Like every generation, something dies off from the elder because we're not in the America itself is not into teaching its culture and its history to the young ones that go up. We just let them free willy-nilly and see how they do. So just to think about like that. That's why there's been a push for people to go over there and help populate Japan, like for real. So we can say American culture is the best. I agree because I'm American. I'm not gonna shit on say any other country's better than America. That's crazy. But to say that we're not leading in culture spreading is absolutely insane. We spread our culture whether you want to, because American culture has a lot of subcultures in it. It's not many cultures that do. Japanese don't have a whole lot of subcultures inside of it. China doesn't have a lot of subcultures inside of their one massive culture.
Correct.
But America does because we have a melting pot. The UK, it's they're trying. Middle East, no.
We're still crumbling as a nation, and we're still crumbling.
Everyone's crumbling. Everyone's crumbling. Everyone's crumbling.
Even us, correct. But we're still at a higher pace than everybody else right now. Because
the thing that America is on a decline that bad, you're not actually looking at all the rest of the countries either, because their countries are dying just as quick as America.
No. I don't think that other countries are not. I don't think that we're crumbling at this. Put it this way, I think because America was so huge and more effective for other nations for such a long time, which is why we got a bigger cushion as we're falling. Yeah, it was. We are actually crumbling right now.
Still are.
No, but
we're not under the case. Okay, as other nations are.
I'm not disagreeing with you. We are, but I'm saying to you, we are also crumbling. We're also going on the downside. Now the difference is our downs. We have a lot for the go. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that because you're just keeping it neutral, and there's nothing wrong with keeping it neutral. It's just that this is why I love geopolitics and everything else, because you can see the decline on everyone, and you can actually measure how fast each subsection or subculture is dying out. It's really measurable. To say that we're dying faster, no, we die in ignorance, but that's not killing us though. We still have the number one economy, only second. Second is China right now, but they're slowly outpacing us. If you want to say, but that's not a culture, that's just the economy. Culture itself is dying.
But again, the same thing we'll say about culture and the same thing we'll even say about the economy, right? it go.
Mhm.
Those two things still work the same way. Those
Absolutely. Absolutely.
those who adapt prosper. Those who cling on to things and don't wish to move, you die. Because the same way, like if you want to say the dinosaurs, if you want to say dinosaurs, if you don't adapt, you get extinct. Tom, don't start this shit. I see your
I didn't
face.
say anything. I didn't say anything. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. You know me. It's really simple. I mean, to think that you're gonna keep your culture to yourself in 2024, you're retarded. You're retarded because you are asking for yourself to die out.
Yep.
And this is the same thing when I tell people that the world has been genocided and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped since the first fucking man on this guy. All these fucking cultures have been fucking genocided. And we don't want to look at it like that because I think people hate the word genocide, but it actually happened. When your culture is dying and your last elder dies or last person of that culture dies, whether you were taken over by someone else or you were just old age killed them out. That motherfucking whole culture, subculture, or whatever it is dead. Gone, ain't never to be revisited. That's why there's a lot of history that no one knows because a lot of subcultures have died out and no one even knows about them. But we only want to look at the major ones. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't care. But hey, it's a good conversation. I'm gonna go back to cleaning.
I agree with Tom. He made some awesome points. I completely agree with what he said.
Yeah, I do agree, but this is why I would say, like, if as part of nations, we need to be more. I'll even use the word inclusive with each other because the idea of just staying so rigid, you're going to lose the time. You can do whatever you want. You go hold on to the wind, the little leaf, hold on to the branch in the wind, but you cannot defeat time.
No, the real thing is you cannot defeat death. Everything's in a state of death once it starts to live. So you ain't beating death.
That's true.
So you got to push that culture on for it to stay alive. The only way the only way to keep culture alive is to keep intermingling with others.
Correct. You got to adapt.
Yep.
You got to bring it in. And that's just the way how I look at it. And you know what? Since we started bringing that up, it goes on to my last video that I have over here, guys. So let's just get into that right now. So here's another video that's been circulating for a bit, and I want to talk about it because I thought it was pretty interesting myself. Someone had to say it, and I know we've heard it before, but now it's catching the firestone for this young woman over here.
That nobody asked for. I am sick of seeing Black Americans in the media, on social media, in the news, doing crime, walking around next to naked, the women, the men perpetuating gang violence, substance abuse. The absolute worst of our community is oversaturating the media, even though they make up a small percentage of all of Black Americans. The decay of our morality within Black communities has been slowly declining over the past 20 years. And no one is talking about it. No one is saying anything about it or trying to address it. And if you do, you are often told that you're policing Black bodies. If you say Black women, stop getting on the internet and in the media, twerking, walking around with little clothes on. People tell you that you're policing bodies, policing Black bodies, or it's respectability politics.
So, who do you think are the people that were sitting there bashing her and telling her that basically it's about policing bodies and such? Because so far, what I've seen over the internet has been overwhelming support for this young woman, but for those who are actually coming after her and trolling and such, those women are coming hard. Those women are coming in hard. Yes, they sure are. It's Black women. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, this is the crazy part. Y'all right, but can we call out? Can we go a little deeper? Which Black woman is doing it? Because there's several of them. Which one is doing it?
Which one?
Yeah, because there's several different. I agree with what you're saying. I know what it is. I agree exactly what y'all said. It's a Black woman. Which Black woman is it?
Is it?
Say again.
Just tell us, OG.
Just tell us. Woke Black woman, the one that are not out there doing the shit. They gonna to push bad behavior because that's all they know what to do. And I say that to my father as an elder, he pushes bad behavior on blacks because he doesn't want no one to talk about black people, even though it's like they can't do any harm. I mean, can't do anything wrong, no matter what. And I think that is absolutely insane. But I already know who it was, OG.
See, I say that because I heard people say that all the time. Oh, black women, but you don't define. Just like a black man, you don't define what black man it is. And we're not gonna get on the man. We're gonna stick on her. But you look at her. What kind of woman you think she? You think she a baby mama? You think she's to put together? Look like she's put together very nicely. Look like she got it all. Look like she good. You know what I'm saying? But she,
but warning. They've been supporting. They overwhelmingly agree so far. I have not found a black man who disagreed with her so far, and I found a lot of black men who agree as well. But those who are in the chat, woo,
yeah, they turn their ass up, and she getting it from her own kind, bro. And that's the fucked up part. When she's talking about, see, it's just what Tom said. You can't help them niggas, bro.
So let's see what more she's saying.
If you are black and you speak your piece on what we're seeing in the media, if you don't like seeing the low morality that is often portrayed about the black community in the media, from the trap music to the black women twerking in music videos and all over social media, the Sukihanas and the Sexy Reds of the world, if you are black and you take issue with it and you talk about it, you are usually called bourgeois, sedity, uppity, it's respectability politics, you're policing black bodies and the like. And it's like, no, I'm black too. And as such, this being my ethnic culture as well, I have a right to have something to say about what I'm seeing going on. Your average black American is a middle-class, working-class, blue-collar Jane and Joe. The ghetto subculture, black ghetto subculture that we see often portrayed and over-inundated and oversaturating the media, those black Americans make up a tiny, tiny percentage of black Americans as a whole.
And I 1000% agree. We've been talking about this for a very long time, but it was the numbers I was putting out even earlier today. Most people, even to black people, will say that, because we hear it all over in these YouTube streets, that the majority of households are single mothers. And it's not true. That is not true. Actually, the majority is actually of two families, 39%.
Amazing how these streets lie, Resla. It's amazing how these streets lie. Because I've been saying, I'm like, who keeps saying, why they keep saying, I hate that. Majority of these people, listen, I know what happens. You know what happens. We cannot say it doesn't happen where you see single mothers out there. But even, like I said, even as I grew up, I didn't see that.
Are they talking about like ghettos, inner cities? When they make that when they make that statement?
Well, okay. So I'm happy that you asked that question, because the problem that we have when it comes to where are black people largely populated, they're actually in cities. Population density of black people always tend to be, listen, if somehow we had some kind of a nuclear war and they aim strictly at cities, that's a good portion of your black population gone. California, Chicago, Atlanta,
Texas,
Arizona, gone. Black people just gone. They'd be scarce parts to even see a black person again, because we're so condensed in cities. So I for one promote black people moving out, spreading out, because I think if we spread out, we would actually flourish, we would actually develop, we would actually spread seed more. But I think that because we're so stuck up on top of each other, we don't do that. Because we just see so many people around us.
Can I say something, Resla?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
This is my thing. The way we spread out, look at OG's life. He's not in the fucking major city. This man does a whole lot of shit that most black people won't ever think about doing because they're so sick. They're so sitting on top of each other that it's ridiculous. I'm not in a major city myself, which is true, but I'm not out there like OG. But I can do the same exact thing, but still be within the city within five minutes tops. But the fact of the matter is we see that we have to be on top of it. When I look at people in Jacksonville and Tampa, even Orlando, I'm like, how can y'all live in apartments stacked on top of each other? You're going to end up hating each other because everything you do, you hear. If you walk down the street, you see 1,000 people. It's like me, I can go walk right now and I'll probably see 20 people tops. How many, Resla, when you go outside and walk, how many thousands of people do you see?
I'm so tone deaf that I already know it's going to be, I can't count it. I couldn't possibly count how many people I run into.
I think to me personally, there's a reason why white people and other subcultures spread themselves out, because it's just, you need your space. You need it. Hell, I need space inside of a marriage. So if you don't think you need space inside of a marriage, you don't think you're going to need space inside of in the city? Crazy.
Yeah. This is one of the things I say to people who are like, when they talk about having a black community, I'm like, I'm sorry, but you can't really flourish in a black community being in a city. You need to be somewhere else. You need to build hubs. We can't just have it all in the big city, because quite frankly, Tom, you just said it yourself, eventually you start hating each other. And it's a big problem. It's a huge problem, which is why I love the fact that she's saying it. But we already know this. All of us here on this panel, everybody who's watching, it's always the minority that ends up getting so much shine. Because even when I mentioned about how other Asian cultures look at us, it's because of the worst of us, which happens to be the very few. A lot of people will turn around and say how single mothers are basically ruling the world and raising all these kids. But 39% are in coupled families. Coupled. Single mothers fall behind that. They're in the 20s. I think they're in the 20s. If they're not, they just dip into the teens. Now at the bottom are single fathers at 5%. But the majority are black families who are together. And yet this is the problem that I had, and this is the problem, and this is the reason why we have a channel like this, where we like to talk about the narratives and the talking points that get perpetuated all throughout social media, because we have to combat that shit. Because when people walk out into their everyday lives, you don't see this shit. You see fathers, you see mothers, you see uncles, you see aunts. You don't just see single women running around everywhere. That's just not it. But if you live on social media, you tend to believe that's the world. And it's not your world. You just have to open your eyes and walk outside. And this sister over here is basically stating that. And I love it for it. I can see why she's getting a lot of heat, but someone has to say it. And again, as many guys have said it, we need more women to say it. We need more women to hold other people accountable. But how long before it just becomes as a natural fact?
We need less weak men saying it. That's the problem.
Big fact.
Well,
Big fact.
so we can have a conversation about that, because that's something I want to talk about on another segment. But I do want to cover that, because there was actually a pretty big blueprint as to how we get there. And I think men in general, black men, Hispanic men, anybody who's here in the West has lost touch of that, and we need to regain some of that back. But let's hear more what she's saying.
But somehow they're in the media, overcompensating in the media, oversaturating the media. I know I don't just speak for myself when I say that I'm sick of seeing it, that it's gross, that it is destroying what Black culture actually is. It's co-opting Black culture as a whole and making it seem as though all of Black culture is ghetto subculture. I'm not the only Black American who takes issue with it, because like I said, majority of Black America is middle class, not in the ghettos, not out here perpetuating gang violence, promiscuity, and everything else. And I don't care if you claim it's respectability politics. I guess so be it, because this is gross. It's getting really gross out here how blatantly disrespectful and low class we're acting on social media and in the media, on the internet, on TV. And you can claim that this is someone else's set of moral standards, but no, it isn't. It isn't. Look at Black America in the 50s.
Y'all know how we got here? Oh, my bad.
So
Go ahead.
can we talk a little bit about that when they start saying the respectability, like people just need to respect basically how we are as Black people as a culture, right? Which is really just the minority of people. But then also talk about how we are the only reason why we're like this way is because other people put us in this position. Mainly they're talking about white people. Can we talk about that? Why is it that we're, as much as we say that we need to have our own, we need to do our own, and we can't be worried about whitey and da 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 da. The worst parts among us, we still celebrate, and then at the same time, we turn around and say the reason why we can't get better is because white people gave us this institution, but we don't look to make our own. But again, we still talk
So
about having a Black community. Go ahead, John.
I'll say it this way. I think what applies in the Black community also happens in the white community, but we're talking about Black people right now because this young lady talking about Black community.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we have this image problem with Black people is because of the word that y'all love to use, and I think we need to be more cautious using this word, change. Change is the biggest reason. Change is the biggest reason why, as a culture, our Black people are looked at differently as a disrespectful way now, because we have now put into a situation where they said women didn't have any voices in the past, and so, and because of patriarchy and how evil men were, knowing that Black men were not evil and Black men were actually good fathers and good husbands, and so now you've quieted their voices, made them weaker, and guess what's loud now?
So this is a question I'm asking. It's not just to you, so I'll just pose it openly. When I hear something like what you just said, John, and I'm not gonna deny or say what you're saying does not have any validity to it, but when we say the change and how the women talked about patriarchy and all those stuff, would that not just turn around and say something really terrible about Black men? Because when we say things like that, and then we look at the state of how Black people are moving today, are we saying that Black women are Black culture? Because what happened to the men? Or I thought Black culture meant Black people together. But if Black women alone have just made all these big changes, then is Black women Black culture?
Oh
Now
shit!
it is now, because what we effectively done, and I'm telling you, same thing happened to Black culture, also happened to the white men, the white culture too, and the white man. Because what we effectively done, because we saw what was that the Senate or the Congress we was watching yesterday with AOC, and then the other black lady, and then the white lady Margaret, whatever her name is.
Oversight Committee in Congress, yes.
Yes. Look look what we let. This is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Hold on. I like when you said that. That's kind of true. But even still, in Congress, is overwhelmingly majority men.
Thank you. But I was thinking, I don't think white women have taken over white men as a culture.
No, Black women have taken over white men as a culture.
Interesting.
Because for some reason, white men have to placate to Black women. Because Black women see white men as leaders. They don't see Black men as leaders. But I'm agreeing with you. Do you say Black women are is Black culture? Absolutely. That right now, a lot of Black men take their cues and like when you see a whole bunch of people protesting, you don't see a whole bunch of men out there. The first person to speak is a Black woman, whether she's old or young. It doesn't matter. They're always Black women first, and then we get the whole preachers and the fakeness and the fake lawyers and all those. But it always starts off and kicks off with a Black woman. So is the Black woman the head of Black culture? I would say absolutely yes. That's just my opinion.
So Tom, you're right. Well, Tom and Resla, y'all both right. When I was saying that, when it comes to culture, yes, Black women is actually running the Black culture. What the point I was referencing to is that when you look at, when I say the same, white men having the same problem is that you also, although I don't think white women run the culture, I think what you're starting to see is their families are now starting to be destroyed because of this women, because we're doing this thing called, I'm focused on the word change. I don't think change is always good. And so you're starting to see more rambunctious white women as well too, who are divorcing their husband, taking the money, ruining the kids. It started happening more on their side of the fence too. What I'm saying is that word change went from a patriarchy to I think it's still a patriarchy right now, but I think we're seeing a change where, in the sense of we're trying to weaken men's voices, and it's starting to happen to white men more too.
100%.
I don't see change, the word change, as a dirty word. I don't. I think a capitulation definitely is. I think just giving somebody something so they can shut up without thinking about the ramifications is a problem. I don't think change itself is a dirty word. I think
I'm not
being
saying it's a
mindful
dirty
about
word either.
no, but I'm saying, but when you say things like you think the problem is change, everything changes. There's been nothing, no nation, no nothing that has not changed. Everything changes. The direction and how it changes because of how people moved is what made the difference. But everything does change.
Everything does change.
It
I
has to.
disagree with you. Correct. But what I'm saying to you is, when you do change that goes unchecked and you're not careful about what you're changing to, when you don't have the foresight, you know what you're changing to. For example, back in the 60s, when they was claiming, or probably back before then, go back probably late 1800s, early 1900s, when women began to clamor for independence from men. That was a change they was looking for, and that change went unchecked in a terrible way. I'm not saying all change is bad, but change that you don't foresee what could happen leads to where we are right now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't disagree with you. That's why I said capitulation, like just giving it to them, but not thinking about what the long-term effects are. You don't just do shit for the sake of doing shit to shut someone up. If you're gonna give somebody something, you put parameters. Everything should be with strings attached. It should never be no strings attached. It should never be just, we're just gonna leave it up in the air, but I'll just give you whatever you have so you can shut the hell up. I would never do that, because you never know what things are gonna backfire on you. And I think that's the problem that, quite frankly, the men of those times made. That's the mistake that they made.
I'm with you in a lot of ways, but we're also overlooking the overcorrection. We did so much shit to change shit, like John the Baptist is saying. Now the overcorrection is worse than the change itself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So the point is, I don't think there's some. I'm with you. There's nothing wrong with change. Matter of fact, if you don't change, or if you don't fucking, I don't even want to say manipulate. I don't know the word.
You have to calculate the change. You have to be very precise in what the change is. You have to be very precise and measured and know exactly where the change is going. We had no clue. We had no clue where this change was going.
But that's impossible to know what change, how something can change, because the only thing that you will understand is when the time has passed, you'll see how that change was actually beneficial or not beneficial.
Well, that's why I said change your parameters. If you have parameters and you can measure
it to a set time. And that's why, if you look at Congress or anything else, when they fucking actually put new laws in it, they put the laws in with a timetable. It's not a long time. They have to continue to be agreed upon for some of these laws to keep going. And just like the taxation law that Trump put in, I'm just throwing it out there, it's up this year. But if they don't, not up this year, up next year, if they don't right now agree to something to keep it or not keep it, they go away forever. So again, I would like you said, Resla and John the Baptist, put it in there with parameters for time check. That's what I'm saying. You got to have a time to see where the change.
I agree. I would run it.
And you can go ahead, Resla. My bad.
Well, I'll say I would run it just like that with parameters in place, because here's the truth of the matter. If you have set up parameters, you can see whether you want to push forward or not based on how people were acting. So let's just say if you had women that were acting a freaking fool during that entire time and doing a lot of the craziness or whatever, you would know what not to go with in the future. You would know that this is as far as you go now, because quite frankly, you did too much. That would just be the end of that. But I think there should be safeguards on it. You were saying, John?
I don't want to make this a Bible talk, but I do want to mention the Bible. but we don't have to stay here long. I can just say this so we can move on from it.
Which one, Luke,
There,
John, Peter? Which one?
no. I just want to. So you can't predict where some things are going to go. Anytime you have, and I'm just using this black woman again, in the situation how things changed and how we let things get out of control by allowing this change to happen, could have been predicted when they first started talking about it, that it was going to end up here. Because in Genesis it talks about I just lost my train of thought. It talks about I just lost my train of thought. It come back to me though.
Come on, John the Baptist. Come on, get it together.
But you can predict the change, right? Okay, so yeah, women want to rule over the man. Talks about this in Genesis. Women want to rule over men. They can't do it physically. So there's only one way they can do it. They have to trick you into giving them the power. So if you know that every woman wants to rule over the man, but what's actually supposed to happen, the man's supposed to rule over the woman. So if she gets the power from you, and she wants it for no good intentions, if she gets it, it's because you gave it to her. So we shouldn't be shocked where we are right now, because you've given women the power to do what they're doing. It's like if I give a kid a gun. Can I say that on YouTube? I'm sorry, I don't know what I can and can't say. I don't think about this.
You can.
Okay. I can't be surprised if he does something with it that he wasn't prepared for. If he just goes crazy with it, it's my fault because I gave it to him.
I'm gonna disagree, right? Because the men who gave these women this power are not the same men of today. So I can't say you can predict something when some of us wasn't even in existence. Okay.
You don't have to be okay. So you speaking in like you're separating generations of men. I get why you're doing that, because you don't want to take ownership of it. But all I'm saying to you is,
how can you take ownership out of it?
I don't have.
What I'm saying is, as in general, whether it was men of yesterday or men of today, men allowed this problem to happen. So men of today, even though men of yesterday was trying to be what they thought was, I guess, working together, unity, whatever case they thought they was doing, and they thought this would be a good thing. Well, men of today have to see what happened, how it happened, and now say, it's time to correct this and put this back in order. We tried this experiment, it didn't work.
Okay, so I've heard this kind of talk before, so I'm gonna ask something. So because men who, if you say we're still living in a patriarchal society, can see the way how feminism has worked, to see the way how women move today, and say this experiment has failed, why not take? If they understand that the ultimate form of power would apparently is force, because we gave the power, then why not just take? Why not just, I guess, take whatever you have from them out? Because I admit there are still more men in Congress than there are women.
Because we're now, because the result of the change that's happened over time, you've created more soft men, more simp men who actually fight for women to have more power now. What they've actually done in this situation too is they've made more men want to be women. I mean, physically, literally want to be women. So you now have men fighting to be the thing that they should be controlling.
John the Baptist, would you say that? So when you say that they're convincing men to want to be women, even physically wanting to be women, do you think that the number of those men who are simps, B, wanting to be women, even physically, do you think they outnumber natural men?
No, I don't think they outnumber. I don't think they outnumber natural men, but I think
an overwhelming force should do something about that, right?
It should, but then also you got to think about too is also being at play too is there's money being made off of this too.
So let me ask this question: Is money worth more to forsake masculinity?
To a certain amount of people, yes, money is more important than masculinity. To certain people.
Okay. Again, I'm not gonna. I can't debate or argue that or anything. I will take your opinion as what it is, because quite frankly, I can't say that I know any better. So I'll accept it as what it is. That's it. Let's hear what she's saying.
In the 60s, our moral standards back then drastically different from what we have today, or what we're convincing ourselves is a moral standard today. Every racial group on the face of the planet has their own ghetto subculture within their respective racial and ethnic groups. This is the case for everybody everywhere: white people, Asian people, Mexican people, you name it. The difference is that those racial groups and those ethnic groups do not allow their ghetto subculture to co-opt the entire culture as a whole and to represent the entire culture as a whole. They don't allow it. Everybody else within that respective ethnic group or cultural group or racial group has a right to say how they want to see themselves represented in the media, what they want to see and what they don't want to see, who gets to speak for them and who does not.
I can't disagree. I cannot. I don't hear about the Irish mob being the forefront of people for speaking for Italian peoples. I do not hear of the Yakuza being the forefront in the media when it comes to Japanese people. She's right. But the worst of us, we're promoted front and center. They're labeled as our media's warriors. So she's not wrong about that. And it's sad. That is sad. And like I said, she's taking a lot of heat for what she said. And I applaud her for it. I didn't think she was gonna blow up this way, but she did.
Except for when you're a Black American and you have something to say about the way that you see Black Americans being portrayed in the media, and you have a critique for your peers. You can't do it because it's respectability politics if you attempt to do it. Or you're judging your peers by a set of moral standards that somebody else created, which is a farce. From the Reconstruction era down through the 60s, Black Americans had their own set of moral standards and social protocols that we adhered to. Ask your grannies, ask your great grannies, they'll tell you. I have had just about enough of seeing Black culture being drugged through the muck by other Black Americans who are perverting it and turning Black culture, something that is beautiful, into something perverse. Showing their ass on the internet all the time. The men are constantly rapping and talking about gang violence. Our children are uneducated and stupid. We've created a cultural standard of promiscuity and single motherhood. And when a Black American goes to critique and judge our peers, our fellow Black Americans, and critique the condition of our neighborhoods today, they're shut down. That's respectability politics. You're policing Black Americans. If that's what it is, so be it. So be it. It needs to be said. And in order for us to attempt to escape accountability or responsibility on our own part, we claim that the conditions that we see in Black communities is being caused by somebody else. It's not our own fault. It's white people and it's structural racism or something or another. It's everybody else's fault except for our own. Give me a break.
Listen, I wholeheartedly agree with her. It is hard for me to say anything otherwise. I think she's got a valid point. It's stuff that we've heard for, let's be honest, we at least all of us here have heard of at least a generation. And this needs to stop. When are people just gonna wake up and just start saying, we just need to put away the people who just, the rebels? When are we gonna start doing something with them? Because that's the thing about when you're dealing with any kind of culture war, and I'll just label it strictly as that, a culture war. Eventually you get the people who start off early. They are the people who want to be your rebels. They want to be your freedom fighters. They're the ones who are the first ones running in for the cause, right? But then after the war is won, after the dust has settled, the problem when you have with some people like that is that some of them have learned to put down their weapons and some of them just start looking for a new war to fight. What do we do with those rebels afterwards? Because you have to deal with them. You just can't leave them alone. That's the truth of the matter.
You gotta do them like you do dogs.
You have to. But the problem with our culture, right? The problem when it comes to Black people is that we don't put down the dogs. We have there goes our national Black anthem. Lift every voice. No, stop. Do not do that. Do not hold them. You need to get rid of them. They need to be put somewhere. They need to be forgotten. They need to be stricken from the pages. Make up your own story. The same way how everybody changes history, we need to start changing history of how we.
The problem with that is, Resla, is like what John the Baptist told me the other week. It's the Sambos out there that's shucking and jiving and got to do a dance and all that extra shit for the whites to make sure that they seen to be dumbass niggas. I mean, it gets old. It gets old, but until we're willing to put our own down, we ain't doing shit. Am I wrong there, John the Baptist?
I don't think I said that, but you right in what you're saying. But
John the Baptist, you said that last week.
I know. I remember we talked about the video. I don't remember saying though. I probably did say it, but I
Well,
don't remember saying it.
we didn't say put them down, but until we get the ones that are shucking and driving and over for the white folks doing their own black, but doing blackface, we're gonna continue to have this, and until we're willing to put our own down. And what I mean by put them down is just not ostracize them or whatever else. Just not deal with them. But until then, we're gonna continue going through the same old rigmarole every fucking 6 days.
Yeah. It should be fearful to want to be these type of people. You should have a worry about the greater sense of your community coming after you.
You know what? There used to be this term. Don't go out there showing your ass. I remember that clear as day when I was young. Oh, here's another one. Hey, you're a reflection of me when you go out in public. So you better not be there doing nothing that you wouldn't do with me standing here next to you. What?
You are a reflection of this family. Do not do anything to embarrass this family.
That's a fact. It ain't like that no more. Go out there and do what the fuck you want to do. That's what it is nowadays.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Don't do anything. Don't say anything to my kid. My kid can do whatever the fuck they want.
Actually, Uncle Tom, they actually doing what their parents are. They're doing exactly what their parents told them. Don't go out there and do anything I wouldn't do. Well, they doing what their parents would do. They out there twerking in front of the camera. The mama and the grandmama doing it right now.
Exactly. I was gonna say that grandma out there too.
Damn it.
Grandma getting the train ran on her. It's crazy.
I mean, I remember what you trying to say. Grandma only 55 years old right now. What we doing?
I'm right back. You won that one, John the Baptist.
Yeah, grandma out there with the camera getting the train ran on her, talking about she still got it. That's crazy. It's crazy.
Grandma 55 years old right now. What are we talking about?
And still getting her back blown open. That's the truth. Because these young dudes they don't care. They don't care. It's all about what's happening to my immediate family. Everybody else's family is fair game.
Sir, that's because black don't crack, baby. What?
Oh, 50 the new 30? That what it is?
It's this video that come across my timeline. It's a daughter, a mother, and a grandmother, and they all doing these dance routines.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like,
that's on my Instagram.
It's like, this is crazy. It's like then there's another lady. She's an attractive young lady. She's an attractive lady. She's probably about 60 years old. She's probably 55, late 60, whatever it is. I mean 60s. Attractive, but she's acting like a 30-year-old. I'm like, do you not realize how stupid this is?
Mindset stop. Well, again, here's the thing that we have a problem in our community. It's the obsession with being young, forever young. So I can forever do the bullshit that I know that is not, it's not great for society. Never mind your family, never mind the culture, society. Why would society want to promote senior citizens out there getting bust open by people who should be their grandchildren's age?
Sir, stop it. Because I'm an old lady chaser. That's why I got me an old lady. You know what I mean?
No. You have an old lady. You don't have an old grand lady.
She was young when I got her, so she wasn't considered an old lady. But
Tom, you 40. You 40 right now, right, Tom? Right?
Yeah, I'm 42.
Yeah, so you old. They make a difference. You old now. They make a difference.
Yeah, but
I know.
But Kai's not 77.
She could be. Listen, if she was, I ain't got nothing wrong with no old woman. I put that in that motherfucker too, man.
No, once you get 40 to 50, You're the same age. You're the same age as a 60-year-old. I don't know how you look at this. Y'all in the same group.
I know that, John the Baptist. I said when I got with her, she wasn't old. Goddamn.
I know. I'm
What
not talking about
I
Kai.
always
I'm
did
just talking about in
women. I
general.
wasn't. Yeah.
Listen, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we need to do more. And I'm seeing a whole bunch of these things. Like, I'm just trying to clear out a lot of stuff that I've been seeing through the timeline. Like, I don't really like to jump on things the moment I see it, because that's just not me. I'm not a person who streams every day. I got a regular life. Sorry, guys. I'm not that type of person yet. But also, like, I think about another video that came up on my timeline, and it's the women talking about they would rather be with a bear than be with a man. And I think we covered it before, right? Right, Tom? You were talking about that on your channel. Women that said that they would rather be in a situation being stuck with a bear than being stuck with a man. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Hey, I had this one video that I was gonna play. That said men making sure they choose the bear. They running in the fucking wars and the dude come out of the bushes chasing them with an axe. That shit was hilarious. Oh my god, he did to like 15, 20 women.
it's just a ridiculous way. Like, I saw a video that came up on I saw a video today actually, where it's a young woman, I think it was like a college student. It may have been in the college campus. Young Caucasian woman. She's getting robbed by a white guy who had a gun, and I guess there were other two guys that were there, and they didn't do anything. The guy got a gun. He just tried to snatch her phone, ran up with the phone, and instead, the person who was reacting to it basically said, "What are we here for? What are men here for? Why would people risk their life?" Even the white woman herself said, if you're in a situation where somebody's trying to take your phone, your life is more important than your phone. So why would other men, first of all, run up who don't know you with a guy who's got a gun and then risk their life over your phone when you said yourself that you wouldn't have your phone? But this black woman up there who was the one reacting to the video basically said, "What are men good for?" She had a white beater on, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
This is crazy though, cause like you fought for equality.
See, here's the thing.
You don't need me any. Go ahead.
They didn't fight for equality. When I hear the word fight, we know what the word fight means.
You're correct.
Fight for
I
equality.
stand corrected.
You didn't put on a helmet. You didn't go to war. You didn't swing a punch. You did not fight.
I stand corrected. Wrong choice of words.
You would have lost. It's not you. We've been programmed to use that word because it means something strong.
Correct.
They did not fight. You were given privilege. You did not fight.
Sir, they sucked a lot of slong to get what.
Then say we earned it. We earned it. You can say earned it then. You earned it, but you did not fight. You earned your equality. You didn't fight for it then.
Yeah, they didn't. No one fight. Because that's like when motherfuckers said they fought for the right to vote. No, you didn't. You sit out there and picketed your protesters. That's not fighting. Matter of fact, most of y'all got y'all ass beat. But that goes back to this. They did that shit. It would have naturally came any fucking way.
It would have. It would have.
Every society does one thing and it progresses. It would have progressed to the same thing. Now, how long that would have took, I don't fucking know. But I think when the motherfuckers say, "What are we good for?" Listen, I'm good at saving my ass. You need to be good at saving your own ass. I was taught as a kid, I always look over my shoulder to make sure ain't no one standing behind me. Now, that shit has saved my life a lot of times. Something need to tell women that ain't no men out here gonna save you, so you better learn how to save your motherfucking self. It's not my job to save you. I'm gonna crash out for you. You crazy as I'll look at you and watch you die and go home and go to sleep. Play with me.
I'm remembering a story, and
in my 20s and 30s.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember what the story was, but I can't remember who it was, but it was a story of a man who was watching a woman and a male basically get into a fight, right? They were arguing or whatever, and man started physically hitting the woman. Now, this guy jumps out of his way to go try to check the other guy, and he gets shot and killed. That man who died also had a wife and child who was there, a wife and a young child who were also both telling him not to get involved. That he got involved anyway and got killed. What are we good for? I think you're good for keeping your own life because you have other obligations. I don't think you should be getting dragged into other people's shit.
This is another example of what bad
Not
change looks like
now for
because
no one else but mine. I'm telling you that right now because I can't crash out for no one else because ain't no one else gonna crash out for me. What in the hell are we talking about? That's why I teach my wife and my kids, hey, let's go out here and shoot this shit up. Let's go out and learn to do this. Make sure your head's on swivel, especially when you're out here by yourself. If your woman or your daughter or your whatever is not out there doing that shit for themselves as a grown adult, you asking for them because I'm not gonna be there every day. John the Baptist is not gonna be with his daughter every day, his wife every day. Guess what? They're gonna have to learn how to protect themselves, fight or flight. I guess some of them just don't want to fight. Fuck them. It is what it is. You ain't a damsel in distress now because you showed up and cussed me out every other day. Shit me.
I mean, not for nothing for the ladies that sit there and they say all this shit, but yet they're out there making gym videos. I'll say to you what basically I heard Scott Galloway say, and it's that you should be if you want to be out there, you want to be acting like men, then you should be strong enough and fit enough to be able to either kill and eat everything in the room or be good enough to run away from it. Plain and simple.
Yep.
Because last I remember, for the human condition, self-preservation should be key. That's the first and foremost thing, to live to see another day. The idea that you think that men would throw their lives away is preposterous. And that's it. But with that being said, I'm going to start ending the episode. I want to thank you all for showing up here. Guys, thank you very much. And I'm just going to do a quick drop down so I can get to everybody else. Just hang by in the back. Guys, I think this was a great episode. I never expected this episode to go as long as they do, but I do appreciate everybody show up because I think it's really, really good conversation, and I appreciate everybody showed up. So thanks for OG for showing up. Thanks for Locksmith. I know you couldn't really hang around for too long. John the Baptist, of course. Unkle Tom. Yvette. Thank you, Yvette, of course. And of course, OG DoDirty. You know I appreciate every time you come up, brother. With that being said, guys, for those who already know what I'm like, if you catch us in the back end, you could be able to reach out to me as well. Hopefully you like the episode. I know it's a bit long, but I think there's a lot that you could be able to learn from here as well. With that being said, we're going to have our next episode. It's most likely going to be next week. If there is something that's going to be coming up throughout time, of course, I'll be able to do so. You can always catch me on all kind of mediums. You can catch me whether it's going to be on Twitter, it can be on Instagram. I just started posting a whole bunch of stuff on Instagram. You can always catch me here on YouTube as well. Also, I also have my email as well, which is at Reslaopinionated@gmail.com. So if you have any ideas for a topic, or you just want to be able to give your own opinion about what's going on, be sure to do so. I'm never going to faint away from that. I'm always willing to have the conversation. And of course, if you're inclined to do so, because it always helps out the channel, you can always cash at me at $ Reslaopinionated. And of course, for those who don't like to use Cash App, but you got a PayPal, it's at Resla too. I want to thank everybody who showed up. I want to thank you guys for actually participating here in the chat. Love you all who showed up. Thank you for actually coming through. And I will see you all on the next one. Till then, as always, stay opinionated.